The Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show starts now on the Lorain County Sports Network, your home for high school sports. Tune in for the Coach's Corner presented by Buckeye Community Bank, where we speak to the coaches and get their thoughts on the season, this game, and their teams moving forward. Don't forget, immediately following the last play of the game, join us for the post-game scoreboard show presented by I-90 Nissan, featuring live interviews with players and coaches from around Lorain County. You can watch the post-game show live on Facebook at WOBL WDLW Sports. Tonight's games are brought to you by Lang Optical, Stewart's TV and Appliance, Buckeye Community Bank, Mental Health and Addiction Recovery Services of Lorain County, Justin Miller, Esquire, Jamie's Carpet Shop, Lorain County Visitors Bureau, Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, Derek Hammonds of State Farm Insurance, Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson, Vans Auto Repair and Tire Pros, Lorain County Community College, Jadasco Insurance, Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services, Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, E.H. Roberts Heating and Cooling, Achieve Credit Union, Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance, Ernie's Auto Body, Brian Victor of Howard Hanna, I-90 Nissan, Nick Abraham Elyria Ford, Al Januzzi CPA, Zabo Apparel Company, Valley Chevrolet, Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, Network Land Title Agency, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Lorain County, Rich Ramsey for Judge, Brian Baker for Lorain County Commissioner, Rich Resendez for Sheriff, Elyria Jewelers and Repair, Lorain County Commissioner David Moore, Jack Hall for Sheriff, Kelly Dieter for State Representative, and Giovanna Scarletta Bremke. After the break, we will talk to both of the coaches in tonight's matchup. Like, follow, and subscribe to Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. It's time for Lorain County's Friday Night Lights with WOBL and WDLW Sports.
Welcome back into the Lorain County Sports Network. Tonight's game of the week on YouTube features the Warrensville Heights Tigers, and they're taking on the Lorain Titans. We're happy to have it for you here on the Lorain County Sports Network. It's time for us to return to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Buckeye Community Bank. Today and tomorrow, your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. And joining us now is Warrensville head coach Bronson Green. Coach Green, we appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time, and let's talk about this group that you have here, Coach. For those of us here in Lorain County who haven't had a chance to watch you guys play very much this season, tell us about this team of yours. Seems like you guys are pretty young, and it seems like you're growing with each week. What are some highlights from you guys for the first 6 weeks of the season?
Well, thanks a lot for inviting me on the show, Andy, first of all. Secondly, some of the things that we're doing good, we've developed more of an identity. At the beginning, as you stated earlier, we had some young guys, so we were just trying to figure out what's going to be our strengths and what's going to be our weaknesses. So I believe that we have more of an identity going into week 7 opposed to where we were in week 1.
Let's talk about some of those areas of growth. You mentioned kind of establishing an identity. Is there a particular unit or maybe a few individuals that you could single out who have really grown the most since the beginning of the season? Well,
our quarterback is growing by the week, and also our running back. Our quarterback, number 4, Amir Harris, he's like, as I said, this time last year, he's a true freshman, so he was actually playing youth football last year. So it's a lot of things we had to teach. We had to kind of give him some crash courses, but he's really starting to pick it up. He's really diving into looking at film and understanding what the offensive coordinator wants from him and what's expected of him. And also the running back as well. He's a freshman as well. His name is Jaheim Edwards. coming from youth football, you know, it's a bit of a different in scale of the game as far as how to run. So he's really improving too by the week, man. The more carries he gets, the more he's understanding that it's a north game opposed to east and west.
And do you think that's kind of become a little bit contagious, you know, when you have freshmen like that are getting into the film room and really kind of getting embraced in that culture? Do you find that's kind of contagious with some of the other kids as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So at first it's kind of a tug and pull game. Once the guys start to buy in and see that what they're actually being coached is working, it becomes contagious for sure. You have the other guys starting to see, well, yeah, what he's doing is working, so I'm gonna follow that path. So yes, absolutely.
What can you tell us about that offensive line? What can you tell us that stands out about that group up front for you guys?
They fight, man. They fight to the end. Man. I love that offensive line. They're a very coachable group of guys. The thing I like the most about them is they fight to the end. They fight all the way to fourth quarter, 0-0.
And let's flip sides here and talk about the defense. You were telling me off air that you guys run a 4-2-5. Who's kind of highlighted that defense for you guys?
In the trenches, we have a defensive end, Artez Williams. He's really coming along too. He's a young guy. He's a sophomore. He's coming along pretty well. Also, linebacker Davion Ross. He's been doing a good job week by week. He didn't start at the beginning of the year, but he was getting better day by day in practice. We threw him out there 1 week. He made a few big plays, and he kind of held on to that linebacker position. So we're excited to see how Davion is going to finish the year.
And what are some things that you believe the kids have learned from 1 week to the next? Because whether it's a win or a loss, it seems like there's always a lesson to be learned. What are some of the big takeaways you think that the kids have really learned with each and every week this season?
Preparation. I think they're starting to understand what it takes to be successful week in and week out as a ball club. So I think preparation. I think they're finally starting to get around to understanding how to prepare to win, opposed to just wanting to win.
And Coach, tonight you're taking on the Lorain Titans, a team that's out to a terrific start this season as we head into the second half of the 2024 campaign. What are some things that Lorain does really well that concerns you a bit going into tonight's game?
I like the crispness of their offense. They run a crisp offense, man. They have good runners, some good athletes out there. It looks like they play good team ball. So I really, as a fan of the game of football, I enjoy watching a few of the things that they did on film.
Well, Coach Green, we certainly appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against Lorain this evening.
All right, thanks, Andy. Again, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Warrensville head coach Bronson Green joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. Buckeye Community Bank today and tomorrow, your partner for growth. We'll take a quick time out and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Counting down to kickoff here on the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. We're getting you set for kickoff between Lorain and Warrensville Heights here at George Daniel Field. And it's time now to return to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Buckeye Community Bank. Today and tomorrow, your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. Lorain Kent coach James Boyes joins us here. Coach, we appreciate the time as always. And Coach, out to an outstanding start this year, of course, going into the second half of the season. You know, you guys are doing a lot of things right now, but when you take a look at your numbers, it seems like a lot of things are working well for you guys in that rushing attack. So many different weapons that can beat you there. Coach, who kind of paces that rushing attack for you?
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of flavor of the week. We're really going to be a running back by committee. We're going to try to spread the ball out around to all of our playmakers and kind of ride the hot hand. So every week's a little bit different. Oster Kimmel's leading us in rushing yards for the year, but I think TJ Allen might be leading in yards per carry. So those are two of our main guys. Hyro's a nice change of pace, and we have a couple other guys who can sprinkle the ball too as well.
Of course, you can't talk about the running game without talking about the big boys up front. Coach, what stands out about that group to you, that offensive line?
Yeah, they're really developing well. Coach Salvo's our offensive line coach. He's doing a great job with those guys. We've got 4 new starters at the beginning of the year. So in that week 1 game, it took about a half for those guys to really start warming up and getting used to it. And at this point, I'm starting to feel like there's some gelling happening, right? So I think that those guys are doing a great job. We had 1 game against Firestone where we had to shuffle some guys around because we lost 2. But we're kind of hitting a little bit of cohesion up front, and they definitely set the pace for us offensively.
Only 1 loss so far this season. You guys have a conference game coming up here tonight. Seems like that things are going in the right direction, no doubt about that. Coach, can you think of some things that are going well for you now that maybe you thought might have been a concern going back to the preseason?
I guess we just hit on it with the offensive line a little bit. Just wanted to see how we could gel and make sure that those guys continue to develop. And obviously we need to stay healthy up front, and knock on wood, we've been pretty good with that so far. Other areas, we just implemented a new offense and a defense. So really, I knew where our talent was, and I had a pretty good gauge of who some of our guys were and what they can do. But really, it's how well could they learn the scheme and get comfortable within the scheme. And I think on both sides of the ball, we're continuing to get better every week. Our standard and our expectations are through the roof. But I think that we're progressing at a decent pace right now. We just can't get complacent at all.
Let's talk about that defense a little bit, because you've had some really good games with that group so far this season. As you guys enter the second half of the season, it certainly seems like you're hitting on all cylinders. What exactly has made that defense go?
Yeah, I think we really reset the line of scrimmage up front. We got three kids that are doing a real good job up front, and they all play a little bit differently with a little bit of a different skill set. That's Braden Buchanan, Luke Wilson, and Ezra Williams. And those 3 guys really do a nice job of, like I said, resetting that line of scrimmage and winning the physical battle up front. And then I think we got a bunch of kids that really fly to the ball. We're lining decently, and I think that we're playing hard and running to the ball. And then, we've had a couple games where we weren't satisfied and excited about how many missed tackles the opponent had. But when we're flying to the ball like that, we're getting hats to the ball. Eventually, we'll down that ball carrier, and as long as we're tackling well, we're playing decent.
Of course, you played last Thursday. That'll give you an extra day to get ready for this one. How big of a difference do you think that makes?
It feels like a little bit of a long week leading into today. But we got right back into our routine. Nothing different for the kids. Homecoming week, so that's been a little bit different in terms of some of the events in school and stuff like that. But I thought our kids have done a great job this week leading into tonight of staying focused, not being distracted, and understanding what the ultimate goal is, and that's to get a victory tonight.
Staying focused, something that can be difficult, especially during homecoming week. You've got a lot of the things going on that surround homecoming week, but what kinds of things do you think your kids are doing and showing you in practice this week that makes you confident going into this one that they've been able to stay focused?
Every day this week we got a little bit more focused. Specifically, Wednesday's practice stands out to me as a day where we were really locked in, and the kids brought the emotion, they brought the effort, something we talk about all the time. We've got to bring more effort, more emotion than our opponents, and we want to make sure we're bringing it to practice. And I think that was great. And we got off to a little bit of a slow start in that first quarter against Garfield Heights, and definitely a slow start in that first half against Willoughby South. So we want to make sure we get off to a quick start tonight. And I think that's where a lot of the focus and a lot of things we were talking about is the kids know that, they feel that, they saw that on film, and they want to come out to a quick start tonight as they can as well tonight.
We'll come around to your opponent, Warrensville Heights, here in just a couple of moments. But, of course, this is your last year in the Lake Erie League, and, you guys will be going out to the GCC next year. Can we talk for a moment about, winning a conference championship, how much that would mean to you in this entire program, knowing that it's your last year in the LEL?
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we've set a couple goals for ourselves, and winning the conference championship is definitely one of those goals, and it's something that we're working for on a weekly basis. Starting last week on Thursday, that kind of started phase 2 of the season for us, where we got into conference play. So we're taking it one game at a time. All focus is on Warrensville Heights tonight, but that's something we've talked about since February 1st, and it's something that we've talked about throughout the season, and we want to keep focused on, but we also know keeping focused on it means it's 1 week at a time.
Let's come around to that Warrensville Heights opponent tonight. A team that's certainly struggled a bit this season. And, this is a team that certainly does have some special talent at the skill positions, no doubt about that. When you take a look at this team on paper and on film, what stands out?
Yeah, you kind of hit on it. They got some guys that can make plays for them on both sides of the ball. So you can't take any plays off. You got to bring your A game, your A level every play. And they're going to hit a big play here and there. So you just have to make sure we're prepared to play the next snap. And we can't dwell on the previous play or the previous mistake or the great play that they made, because they'll make some plays. But the biggest thing for us is going to be focusing on ourselves, making sure we play a clean game in all 3 phases. And like I said, they've got some dudes that can make plays, but we've got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves tonight.
And, Coach, you mentioned a couple of these here through that last answer, but let's finish on this. If you're to pick out 2 or 3 big keys to a Lorain victory tonight, what would they be?
Yeah, so the first thing is we want to eliminate all pre-snap and post-snap penalties. We've got to make sure that we're taking care of the ball, so we don't want any turnovers offensively. We want to create turnovers defensively. And then lastly, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but we got to make sure that we bring more effort and more emotion to the game tonight.
Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Lorain head coach James Boyes joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner today and tomorrow. Your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. We'll step aside and take a quick time out and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Out in Lorain tonight at George Daniel Field, where tonight the Titans on homecoming will play host to the Warrensville Heights Tigers here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome in to the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show, getting you set for kickoff in Week 7 of the high school football season. So happy to have you with us. We're coming your way from the Lang Optical broadcast booth tonight. Lang Optical, see the difference. Andy Bullbarch joined alongside my tag team partner Max Drummond. He'll be providing the colorful analysis throughout the night. The captain of our ship is the director Edwin Vereen, and we've got Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight. Max, great to be joined by you as always for this LEL battle. This will be the final time that Lorain will take on Warrensville Heights as conference foes as Lorain makes the move to the GCC next year. And on paper, you look at this one, Lorain comes in at 5-1. They haven't played in 8 days, and they're taking on a Warrensville Heights team still looking for that first win this season.
Yeah, excited that we've finally hit October football here in the high school realm. And like you said, Lorain, they've been off to a hot start this season, and it doesn't look like many teams in their conference are going to be able to slow them down.
Yeah, and tonight I think you'll probably get a pretty good look at that three-headed monster they have in that running game, and it might be more like a 4, and in some cases it might seem like a 5-headed monster. They have so many guys that tote the rock of this game and run it really well. And they take out a Warrensville Heights team that's very, very young, still looking for some experience and trying to get on the right track as they've had some tough games so far this season. But the one thing that stands out about the Tigers is that they are really, really young.
Yeah, that youth, it's in a lot of key spots as well. Sometimes we see teams that have to mix it into just a couple spots, but really most of this roster is guys who don't have a lot of varsity experience coming into this year, and most notably at the signal caller position. But obviously, you heard about that in the Coach's Corner. We'll get into that a little bit more later.
We'll dive into that here in just a bit. You can hear the Lorain Marching Band performing in the background here in just a few moments. We'll let them take over with our national anthem, which is brought to you by Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Stay safe, Lorain County. A message from Lorain County Prosecutor J.D. Tomlinson. Before we get to that national anthem, let's tell you who is calling this game here tonight. Officials, as we take a look here, Tim Donovan is going to be the white hat tonight. Mr. Donovan and I go back quite a few years. He would call some of my Little League baseball games many, many years ago. Tim Donovan, the referee, umpire, Dale Golak, line judge, Moise Perez, linesman, Lou Barley, back judge, Greg Barley, and from the looks of things, they don't have a center judge as of right now. So that's our referee crew, and it's brought to you by Justin Miller, Esquire, serving all of your legal needs. That's Justin Miller, Esquire. All right, time for our national anthem. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, they're playing that Lorain fight song right now. When they're done with that, they'll get into the national anthem. So after the anthem, I'll let Max take over with our keys to tonight's game, and then we'll keep on cruising towards kickoff. Let's let that Lorain Marching Band take over for a moment. Terrific rendition of our Star Spangled Banner by the Lorain Marching Band. And with that, we hand the baton over to my tag team partner, Max Drummond, for our keys to the game, brought to you by the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Lorain County.
Well, we'll start with the visiting Warrensville Heights Tigers, as obviously they've got a lot of adversity to overcome with this great Lorain team that they're facing. And it's starting on offense. Their young freshman quarterback, Amir Harris, he's going to have to play very well. He's going to have to make a few plays that aren't there to begin with. And to help him out, they need to get the ball out quickly. And I know that offensive line, they're going to have a tough task in front of them because Lorain's defensive line in front, very aggressive. Multiple guys over 3 sacks up there. And I believe every player in that front 7 has a sack on the season, so they won't make it easy. And also, when they're on defense, when the Tigers take the field defensively, it may feel boring and you may be giving up a lot underneath and a lot in the run game, but you have to play back. You have to play deep. Can't let Lorain take advantage of big explosive plays, especially early on in this game. Flipping over to Lorain, it's been pretty simple for them. You mentioned it, Bull. They have a lot of playmakers to choose from. They need to continue spreading the wealth, make it difficult to figure out who the ball's going to. You have your good idea. Obviously, they've got guys like Hyro Williams and Osir Kimball leading the way statistically, but a lot of other guys to get involved there as well. And also, for them, you kind of touched on it, pressure the freshman quarterback, Harris. If you can get after him tonight, make his life harder than it already is going to be, it'll go a long way in helping shut down that Tigers offense and securing a victory.
And we'll be sure to revisit those keys to the game in the second half as well. All right, we saw the captains on the field a bit earlier for the coin toss. The captains for each side. We'll begin with the Lorain Titans. Chase Davis, the quarterback. Number 1, wide receiver and running back, Hyro Williams. Number 0, Osir Kimball. And offensive lineman number 52, Isaiah Ray. The captains for Warrensville Heights. They had 5 altogether in this one. One of them, their center, number 75, Tristan Pace. Number 10, Tylen Bryant. Number 7 is one of their defensive backs, and also a defensive back in this game too, number 7, Javon Johnson. They also have the quarterback, which Max alluded to a few moments ago, Amir Harris, and also number 1, Braylon Donegan. So the captains all season long are brought to you by Jamie's Carpet Shop. Shopping made simple. That's Jamie's Carpet Shop. We referenced that coin toss. That's brought to you by the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. Celebrating 200 years together. That's the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. Warrensville Heights won the toss, and they have deferred to the second half. Let's take a look now at our weather and field conditions, brought to you by Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, a proud sponsor of high school athletics. And Max, nothing to complain about here tonight. We've got picture-perfect fall weather here in Lorain.
It really is starting to take shape in October weather here, as we've felt a bit of wind when we came in. That hasn't gone anywhere from 6 to 10 mile-an-hour gusts, and it's leading to a temperature of 67 degrees, a little bit cloudy here for our kickoff, and then as the night goes on, we'll probably get into the low 60s, no lower than that, though.
The injury and update report brought to you by Derek Hammons of State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Visit Derek Hammons of State Farm Insurance. And, nothing out of the ordinary for this one, Max, and that's what you like to see 7 weeks into the season. Nothing substantial. Nobody's 100%. We talked about that a little bit last week, too. You're going to have some nicks, some bruises, some scrapes, but everybody's a little sore, but nothing outstanding going into this game.
That's right. And for Lorain, the past couple of weeks, outside of a close loss, they've been able to get a couple backups in, and they're coming in off of an extra day of rest. You allude to that Thursday night game they played last week.
Waiting on Lorain to charge out onto the field as they look for win number 6 this season. Took down Garfield Heights a little over a week ago. We had a chance to talk to Coach James Boyes about that a little bit earlier in the week, and he said, it gives you an extra day to get ready for sure, but it also kind of throws that routine off a little bit, right? But I think I'm not necessarily sure this applies to the kids as much as it does the coaches. They're very structured, right? They've all got their routine. I think the kids are probably a bit more flexible, maybe like the fact they had that extra day to get ready for this one. Plus, it's homecoming, too, and there's obviously a little bit more that goes into that, Max.
That certainly adds an extra element to it, and that there may be some other distractions later on, obviously, hoping to have a great time this weekend for at their school's dance, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. I like you said, I don't see it being a major issue, and may even help them play loose.
Yeah, you'd like to think that'll help a little bit. You can't help but be loose with all the festivities they had going on pregame. You know, we had the band playing a few moments ago. Prior to that, though, boy, they had quite the circus going on. A bunch of inflatable animals racing each other out here on the track. T-Rex won one race. The unicorn was a couple lengths ahead of another shark in a different race they had down there. So they're keeping the fan base pretty loose, if nothing else.
Yeah, you got that right. I mean, it adds the whole festivities of it. We saw a few football players in the walk of homecoming court as well. So definitely a great environment so far as we begin this game.
And I think you also have to be cognizant, especially early on in a game like this. You know, you don't want to let down against a team that hasn't won any games so far this season. They're going to come out hungry in this one, knowing that, you know, this one's probably been circled on Warrensville Heights' calendar for quite some time, knowing that the Titans right now the top dogs in the LAL, their final year in the league. You know, early on, you certainly don't want to let your guard down against a team like this that might be very young and inexperienced, but they're pretty hungry going into tonight.
Yeah, and you also touched on there that Lorain has been the class of this conference for the past 2 years. They've been among the best. And also, this is a game, Warrensville Heights, they haven't won in some time. It's actually dating back to 2009, back when Lorain was still Admiral King. So they certainly would like to go out with a victory against the Titans.
TJ Allen and JoJo Gaines both back deep to receive the opening kickoff for Lorain. Our opening kickoff all season long brought to you by Lorain County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. That's Lorain County Community College. We'll get to the starting lineups here in just a second as well. Starting lineups brought to you by Vans Auto Repair and Tire Pros, your trusted local auto repair and tire shop. That's Vans Auto Repair and Tire Pros. Excited to see this Lorain offense. You know, of all the years I've been covering Lorain County sports, this is my first time calling a Lorain football game. I've been at this facility before to call a Clearview Black River game, but never to call a Lorain Titan football game.
I was about to say the team is from Lorain. One of the teams you covered from Lorain, just not the Titans. Funny how that works out.
Tigers have it teed up at the 40-yard line, and we should be just about set to get this baby going. They'll kick it away. It's a squib kick. This will bounce past the 25. It's picked up by TJ Allen. He'll take it past the 30-yard line, got out of one tackle, and then he was spun to the turf close to the 32-yard line. Let's take a look at this Lorain offense, led by quarterback Chase Davis, a 5'9", 190-pound senior. TJ Allen, senior tailback, 5'10", 175. Wide receivers are number 3, JoJo Gaines, 6', 170 senior. Number 1, Hyro Williams, 5'8", 175 senior. Number 0, Osir Kimball, 6'2", 190 senior. Tight end number 17, Avery Martin, 6', 200-pound junior. Up front, Amari Malone, the left tackle. Left guard, Jalen Moore. Center, Lamar Miller. Right guard, Isaiah Ray, and Deontay Edwards is the right tackle.
Going through a couple of those starters for Warrensville Heights up front. We'll see Artez Williams, as well as Tristan Pace, Nate Allison, and Elijah Bester making up that defensive line, and get into the rest of them here in a moment.
They'll come out in the Wildcat here as Hyro Williams is lined up as the quarterback. They'll send a man in motion. Williams keeps it, takes it up the middle, past the 35, steps out of a tackle, past the 40. He's able to get out of another tackle at the 50, and he's ripped down along the near sideline at the Warrensville Heights 42-yard line.
I mean, his run after contact ability is fully on display there. And what's crazy is some of the linebackers even were able to read that and stayed home. Despite the motion, they just couldn't bring him down. And a few of those linebackers trying to get a hold of him there as part of that Tigers defense. Amir Jackson at outside backer. Davian Rawls in the middle along with Zaire Gilbert. And at the other outside linebacker spot, Zechariah Turner.
Chase Davis checks back in here to take the shotgun snap. Looking left, throwing left. That's hauled in the flat along the far side and taken down close to the 40-yard line after a pickup of just about 3 yards. We're able to get just a little bit on that as he was able to complete that to Ray Smith.
And a few more of those starters in the back end for Warrensville Heights. Dorian Jones at the corner, Van Martin and Zaire Cheney holding down the 2 safety spots, and Jeremiah Turner at the other cornerback position.
Second down at 7 coming up here. Titans with 2 positive plays in their first drive of the game. They'll send a man in motion near side right. Davis will take the snap, and they'll give this one to Williams. Williams, big hole left side, off to the races down the far sideline. He's knocked out of bounds He stepped out inside the 15. They'll mark him down near the 13-yard line. We have a flag back around the 39.
And you did mention a big hole over there. Turns out it was opened up thanks to a holding penalty by the left side of that offensive line. And we'll see how far it steps him back. If it's going to be a spot penalty.
So a hold against Lorain is the call from our head referee, Tim Donovan. And they have marched it all the way back to the Titans' 48-yard line.
So definitely a plus for the Tigers there is now they get this Lorain offense off schedule a little bit. We'll see how the Titans choose to respond.
Davis will send a man in motion to the right. Grabs the snap, fires right side. The pass falls incomplete, trying to get that to Hyro Williams in the flat. That was the man in motion, but he just led him a bit too far.
That's right, and you know, you want to give him the best advantage possible, give him some momentum heading upfield on a play like that where the blocks, you don't want to have them hold up for too long or have to hold up for too long, but right there, just drifted on him.
That makes this a third and very long scenario. They've got to get inside the 35 to about the 33. Davis fires across the middle. Caught by Hyro Williams. Takes it inside the 35, and he's tackled at the 31. They'll pick up just enough for a first down.
Great job by Williams, just sitting down in the zone, and he did so ahead of the line to gain, just short of it, I mean, and still with that run after catch, that speed, he was able to get away from him, pick up a huge 18-yard gain there.
They'll get back to the line quickly. Davis will grab the snap, fires right side, caught by Zion Moore. Moore able to take it up to about the 22 before he's wrestled out of bounds. Zaire Gilbert, who escorted him out, but not before he picked up a pretty good chunk, just about 9 yards on that play.
Well, and so far we're seeing them use the screens a lot, and Warrensville Heights, they are playing a little conservatively like we talked about they might, and we'll see how long they're willing to stick with that, because obviously you don't want that big play over the top.
An unusual formation here with only 3 down linemen lined up right at that line of scrimmage. They'll fire left side. That was nearly picked off. A big hit on the play. The pass falls incomplete. And that was Jeremiah Turner who blew that up. The quarterback came in to put a pretty big stick on Hyro Williams at the 29-yard line, keeping him from corralling that pass.
Well, like you said, Ball, very interesting formation there. As they even had one of their offensive linemen that time is going to be Amar Malone out there. And even with him there, they weren't able to get in front of Turner and help set the play up for success, leading to third down now.
Coming up on 3rd down and 1. 4 receivers for Davis at his disposal. He's got 3 lined up far side to the left. They'll give it to T.J. Allen. He's undercut in the backfield at the 22-yard line. And coming up to make that stop again, Zaire Gilbert.
Well, just a great hit there by the sophomore inside linebacker. And once again, those receivers out in the slot, 2 of the 3 are uncovered for at least 6 yards, the closest defender. So, I mean, got to imagine they'll try to exploit that here on this 4th down.
4th down and short. It'll be 4th down and 1 for the Titans. A hard snap count from Chase Davis. Could not get Warrensville Heights to jump. Opening drive of the game. This began back at their own 32-yard line. T.J. Allen is the only running back in the formation. Davis takes the snap. They'll give it to Allen. Allen's able to take it past the 20, able to work his way inside the 15 before he's tackled at the 14. However, a flag came in as that play was developing, and that'll be another hold against Lorain.
And even though they've had some good amount of success here on this opening drive, couple key penalties now could prevent this drive from being able to be finished off here.
And this certainly complicates matters. It was 2nd down and 1, and they've done nothing but move back ever since that play. And now they find themselves in a 4th and 11 scenario.
Well, in situations like this, you got to feel at least a little more comfortable with Chase Davis operating back there in his 2nd full season as the starter here for Lorain, and it's probably going to fall on him.
Davis back to pass. He's got time. Fires this one for Hyro Williams, but he overshot him just a bit. The pass falls incomplete in the end zone. Williams had a couple of steps on his defender, but Davis just not able to find him. And how about that Warrensville Heights defense? They're able to get the Lorain offense off the field, and they keep this a scoreless game.
Making a great stand on that one, as a lot of those young guys stepped up at the end of that drive as well, that we talked about it being a very youthful team. And on that one, it looked like Davis thought there would have been more of a free release off the line. Instead, his option there, Williams, got jammed up around the 5-7 yard marker of the route, and it just delayed the timing of that throw.
Amir Harris, freshman quarterback, leads the way for this Tiger offense. Scott Jaheim Edwards in the backfield. Waiting on that shotgun snap. He gets it. They'll give to Edwards. Edwards tries to dance around in the backfield, but he's corralled quickly. He gets dropped right around the 29-yard line, just nowhere for him to go. Looked like Ezra Williams was one of the first ones in on that stop.
Yeah, Williams in there. Also looked like DJ Nixon as well, as he initially blew up the play. Looked like he might have been able to get away, but instead he's tracked down. And good job by that aggressive box of defenders there for Lorain.
That's a loss of 3 yards. And Amir Harris, as we were talking with Coach Green before the game, was saying, you know, he's a freshman. And look, last year he was playing youth football. So this is just a really big jump for him this year. And if you've seen some of his highlight reels on Huddle, boy, he throws a real nice ball. We've got a flag that comes in, though. A delay of game will be the penalty. And we have seen lots of yellow hankies so far in this one.
You're not kidding, and that's part of the growing pains of having a young offense in general, but then obviously at the quarterback spot, the timing, the speed of it all. I mean, it definitely creeps up on you there, the play clock alone, and that's something here as the season goes on, definitely the coaching staff would like to see cleaned up here as they move forward.
And Amir Harris is a pretty good-sized freshman at 6'1", 174. He's a kid that can beat you with both his legs and his arm. Waiting on the snap, he gets it. This time it's a keeper. He'll run it right side. He gets dragged down right around the 20-yard line, and it was Ezra Williams who tracked him down again. That's 2 tackles for loss in this opening drive for the 5'10", 270-pound junior.
And obviously his pursuit ability is second to none. Is very aggressive getting after the ball carrier, but also helping set up that stop was TJ Allen blowing up one of the blockers who was trying to seal the edge. Instead, Harris has to try to cut that one upfield, and it goes right back into the teeth of the defense.
Just under 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. No score in this one. Lorain's opening drive stalled as they were able to move the ball inside the 25-yard line and just ran out of downs to work with. They were hurt by some penalties on that first drive as well. It's 3rd down and 21 for the Tigers. Harris fires near side left. The pass falls incomplete. He was looking for Jeremiah Turner, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. Turner was lobbying for it. The sophomore, 5'9", 168, certainly thought that he was interfered with.
Well, this is going to be interesting because Ira Williams was the one that ended up on the ground, so I don't know if they'd be willing to go for offensive pass interference here, if that will be on Lorain.
It'll be a hold against Lorain. Well, and look, hindsight's always 20/20 from here. It didn't look like that play had much of a chance to develop, as that ball looked like it was thrown well out in front of Turner. But look, maybe the reason why it looked that way to us is because he was being held and he was taken away from his route.
Certainly had something to do with it there, and that's an example of probably how quickly we're going to see Harris try to get rid of the ball tonight. Even on deep routes, on longer developing plays, we see him not taking over 3 seconds to get rid of it.
So it's 3rd down and 11 after that holding penalty against the Titans. Amir Harris runs it near side left, turns it up the field, and he's dragged down past the 35 at about the 36. So he picks up a few there, but they're still going to be about 7 yards shy here, bringing up 4th down.
And obviously a very safe play call, but in this situations, so long to go for the first down. You don't want to force your quarterback into any tough positions here early in the game and rattle his confidence. And in this case, get a chance to have the punt team out there. And we're almost to the halfway point of this first quarter. There's still no points on the board for either side. That's certainly a win to this point for the Tigers.
Oh, there's no question about that. They came into this thing as overwhelming underdogs. There's no question about that. I'll send the snap back. Lorain's not going to put up much of a rush as this punt is high in the air, bounces at the 49 of Lorain, keeps rolling inside Titan territory, and that'll be down right around the 48. That was Tylen Bryant on the punt, and that didn't have much behind it, but he was able to get about a 9 or 10 yard roll after they hit the turf.
Hey, you'll take that every time, and it's going to be interesting to see now how this Warrensville Heights defense, they got to feel out Lorain for our first drive there, and obviously they kept everything in front of them outside of the last play of the drive that fortunately was an overthrow. But now we'll see if they continue that strategy, that scheme on defense, or if Lorain will continue to chip away at it and force their hand to try to be more aggressive.
Chase Davis played every snap but the first one on that previous drive, and it looks like they're going to go with the same type of scenario here as Hyra Williams is lined up again in the Wildcat formation. Sends a man in motion, takes the direct snap, and they're going to give this one to Zion Moore. Moore trying to turn the corner left side. He's able to get up to about the 43, maybe the 44-yard line. It's a gain of close to 5 yards on first down.
And on that one, Williams may still be catching his breath from playing 2 drives in a row. Obviously, he had a couple deep routes on the opening offensive drive, then covering downfield there. So smart move to give it off to Moore and let him work a little bit.
They'll bring Davis back into the game. Second down and 5. Knows the ball at the 44-yard line for the Titans. Davis will grab the snap, fires right side, caught by Williams in the flat, takes it past the 50-yard line, dances away from a couple defenders, cuts back inside. He's got room to run to the 20, angles inside to the 10. Williams is hit at the 1-yard line, and he goes into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans! It's a 56-yard touchdown pass from Chase Davis to Hyro Williams, and the Titans draw first blood, taking a 6-0 lead with 5:36 to play in the first quarter.
And that's the play on the first drive we saw them miss on. Just overthrow Williams a little bit. And this time hit him right in the hands. And great job downfield blocking that time by guys like Joseph Gaines as well as Zion Moore helping spring that play loose. And he's got the speed to contend with anybody here in the county.
Extra point is on the way, and it is good. So 7-0 is your score. Just over halfway through this opening quarter, Lorain on top on the Lorain County Sports Network. Jacob Rivera put the extra point through the uprights to make it 7-0, and he's got the ball back at the 40-yard line, ready to kick it back to the Warrensville Heights Tigers. I want to remind you that the first snap of each half all season long is brought to you by Janasco Insurance. Speaking of Maria Janasco, scheduled to be joined by Paul Williams and Dave Grenczynski during the post-game show. Read off all the scores for you when this one's done. Rivera kicks this one away. This will be picked up and retrieved right around the 5-yard line. Taken out to about the 15 and dragged down close to the 18-yard line. That was Brian Nichols on the return. And Lorain was able to catch up to him pretty quickly. And we'll get our second look at this Tiger offense. They had to punt the ball away their last time out, and still this is an offense that's established a little bit of an identity, but they've got a long ways to go.
Well, and it's a little more dangerous to do so now, trying to do so at least, is Lorain, a little more pep in their step. You can see right there on that kickoff after the big touchdown. And you know that front seven is certainly looking to get after the freshman quarterback, as he didn't have a chance to bring him down for a sack on that first drive. I'm sure that's at the front of their minds right now.
Amir Harris waiting on the shotgun snap. He picks it up off the turf. He bobbled that. It was a low snap, and he wisely decides to fall on it at the 15-yard line. Now, you're always looking for reasons for optimism, signs of maturity. Look, there's one right there, right? Knowing that was a low snap, he had a hard time handling it. Instead of making matters worse, he just decided to fall on it to live to see another day.
Right, and sometimes players in general, young players especially, will try to make something out of nothing. That's actually one of the titles of one of Harris's highlights videos, is doing exactly that. But right there, knowing the situation, know they're deep in their own end right now, and you can't afford to give Lorain's offense this kind of field position.
He'll have Edwards off his left tip, sending a man in motion near side left. He fakes the give, throws this one deep down the far sideline, incomplete. There was a collision close to the 40-yard line. We've got another flag, and it looks like this is going to cost Lorain.
I'll tell you what, even though that ball obviously was not completed, a little interference may have had something to do with it. He throws a great deep ball, a great spiral on that. And this one certainly in position of the receiver, unlike the last one where it may have sailed on him. This one was a beauty of a throw.
Well, he was looking for Brian Nichols. And we saw the collision at the 40-yard line. You could hear some groans here on the near sideline as a result of that. Not only does that move the chains, it also puts the ball at the 30-yard line here. So, you know, you don't want to give a young team like this a whole lot of confidence, because it seems like it may not take much for them to get going.
That's right. And these guys, they're practically one-on-one right now. So if they win a couple of those, that'll really give them a boost and maybe provide some trouble here for Lorain.
Jaheim Edwards, freshman tailback, is in the backfield along with Harris. Two receivers on each side. He'll drop back, looking right side, throws right side. The pass is caught close to the 45-yard line. They'll make a man miss and finally go out of bounds near the 41 for a pickup of just about 11 yards. That's another first down.
Yeah, great job by Bryant that time. Just like I mentioned, it's one-on-one right now. It's man-to-man. Lorain is trusting their guys in space at the moment, and right there he just sits down in a great spot and also shows off a little power there, breaking through the tackle, keep the run alive, going for the first down.
Yellow numbers on white jerseys makes it kind of tough for us to see. So I apologize for not picking that up. Harris will put three receivers on the far side of the formation here. Grabs the snap, looks right, throws right, nobody home, incomplete. Clearly a miscommunication there, and they're staring down the barrel of second down and 10.
Well, and that pass ended up right between his two receiving options. He had Nichols in the flat, or Bryant would look like on a slant route, and the ball just ended up between the two of them. Fortunately, that meant no Lorain Titan defender was too close by to get a hold of that himself. And funny enough, with all the passing we've seen, that is officially his first incompletion of the night, thanks to some of the interference calls and holdings so far.
Yeah, and look, as a quarterback, you see a matchup you like, even if you don't get the completion that you're looking for. A lot of times, you can get a matchup that can every now and again draw a penalty. Seems to be some confusion getting guys lined up. Pass goes across the middle, tipped into the air, and it almost gets picked off at the 49-yard line.
Yeah, everybody's holding their breath right there after that.
That was nearly picked off by Johnny Geiger. That ball was in the air for, I'm sure if you're Warrensville Heights, what seemed like an eternity.
And Lorain, they have several guys that are their specialty is breaking up passes. And I mean, in their secondary, several guys that have done that this season, and multiple interceptions in that back end. So it's definitely tight windows you're going to be thrown into almost no matter what.
3rd and 10 from their own 41-yard line. Warrensville Heights has been able to move the ball a little bit on this drive. Pass goes left side, caught in the flat by Turner. Turns it up the field, past the 45-yard line, dragged down from behind, close to the 48 of Lorain. That should be enough for a first down. So he finds Jeremiah Turner, and the sophomore picks up just enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, great job in space. That time is good recognition by Harris. He realized his option was one-on-one with a linebacker who did not get out there fast enough.
It'll be a quarterback keeper. Harris nowhere to go. He gets engulfed at the 49-yard line of Warrensville Heights for a loss of 2. Luke Wilson, a 6'3", 315-pound senior, just swallowed him up for a loss.
Well, the quarterback dive right there. I mean, it looked like he wanted to try to just hammer away at the line of scrimmage. He ran into a wall in Luke Wilson. My goodness.
Setting up second down and 12. Now, they haven't tried to run the ball a ton here tonight, whether it be with Harris or Edwards, but you're seeing why they haven't tried to run the ball a whole lot with that last result. The first time they tried to run it with Edwards, there just wasn't a whole lot of room for him to run. And now we have an official timeout here as Tim Donovan will get together with his crew to try and figure this out. Not exactly sure what the problem is.
Perhaps trying to make up for not having that fifth member of their group tonight. Could be some clarification.
And look, that's a tough job when you do have a full deck and you're working with all 6. Only working with 5 makes things even tougher. There's no doubt about that. They'll come out of the huddle here. 3 receivers trying to get a line to the far side. They've got one lined up near side left. They'll send him in motion. It'll be a keeper. Harris takes it right side, past the 50, out in open space, lost the ball at the end of the play. It's on the turf, and it looks like Lorain has recovered it at the 35-yard line. No official word just yet. And there it is. The Titans have it. Harris, for a moment, looked like he was going to break free and make his way into the end zone. Then he lost it at the very end of the play, and Lorain gets a big turnover.
When he got sidetracked just enough. Believe that's going to be Johnny Geiger, who was able to, didn't look like he was going to be able to complete the tackle, but he just swiped at him close enough there, stripping the ball free, and shuts down what was becoming a very good drive for that Warrensville Heights offense.
Boy, what a roller coaster ride of a play that was. For a moment, it looked like maybe Harris was going to get out in open space and tie this game, and then he lost the ball at the very end there. As you mentioned, Geiger swatted that away, and Lorain falls on the loose ball for the game's first turnover. Titans take over at their own 35-yard line. They lead 7-0, 3:20 to play here in the first quarter. They'll send a man in motion far side left. Davis will give this one to Allen. Huge hole up the middle. Cuts it to the near side. Beg your pardon, that's Osir Kimball. He's off to the races down the near sideline. Stiff arms the defender, gets knocked out of bounds. Osir Kimball nearly took that to the house, but he was shoved out of bounds on the near sideline, and they will mark him out just inside the 10 at the 9.
Well, Heights had a chance to get him at the line of scrimmage there. Artez Williams seemingly had him with an arm tackle, but with Kimball, he's too strong for that. And, I mean, how about that for your first carry of the night?
Well, they have so many guys that can beat you with that running game. They get so many different bodies involved, and you can see how that has such a monster effect. And now we've got a whistle, and it looks like we've got a timeout called by Warrensville Heights. Timeouts are brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. 3:09 to play first quarter. Lorain 7 and Warrensville Heights nothing on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming out of that Warrensville Heights timeout, it'll be first out and goal for Lorain at the Tigers' 9-yard line. First trip to the red zone tonight Red Zone Trips brought to you by Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services. Selling or buying your next home? Visit superstevesells.com. That's superstevesells.com. Lorain trying to go up a couple of scores. Chase Davis has his troops at the line. First and goal from the 9. He'll send a man in motion to the left. Davis will take the snap. They'll give to Kimball again, but this time he gets hit and stopped at the 10-yard line. There were a few different bodies combining for the stop, but Davion Rawls, the linebacker, came in to make that first contact for what will result in a loss of 1.
Yeah, and what makes that setup there even more impressive is Lorain did everything they could to try to empty that box, try to clear it out with multiple receivers out wide, even motioning a man to the wide side of the field. So that left a lot of pressure on those linebackers and defensive linemen to get it done, and they certainly did there.
Davis will send Kimball in motion to the left. They'll pitch it to him. Kimball stretching to the far side, trying to turn the corner. He does, makes his way into the end zone for a touchdown, but we do have a flag back at the 15-yard line. And this one's coming back. It'll be another hold against Lorain, and this one negates what would have been a 10-yard touchdown rush from Osir Kimball.
Well, there was a nice block over around that left side, possibly even a pancake block, but perhaps somebody else getting involved there on the left side. A couple guys having to pull double duty as well, so trying to block twice your assignment may lead to that.
So now it becomes second and goal from the 20. I'll reset the play clock here. And we're inside of 2.5 minutes to play in the opening quarter. At just 7-0. Lorain with the lead. J.L. Diaz, the tailback. Davis back to pass. Plenty of time. He's going to step up in the pocket, scrambling. Gets inside the 15, spins off a defender, works his way inside the 10, and he goes down close to the 5.
Man, and that's a physical run from your quarterback there, just tucking it and running off. He tried his best to survey his options over on the left side of the field, but nobody open, and he just, even better job navigating through that mess of the offensive and defensive line trying to get through to each other. Looks like he's even running with a potential cast on the one hand, so even more impressive that he's willing to put his nose down for extra yards.
Third down and goal from the 5. They'll pitch this one right side. They get it to Hyro Williams. He dances into the end zone. Touchdown, Titans. Hyro Williams with his second touchdown of the night. This one on the ground. The first one came through the air. It's a 5-yard touchdown scamper to make it 13-0 Titans.
And even though we took one score off the board from Kimball, I mean, just added it very quickly after that with Williams. The two coming into the game were combining for 17 touchdowns. In a way, they're combining for 3 tonight. It's only going to count as 2, obviously, the one holding called Kimball's back, but great job there on the perimeter by.
The extra point is good, but there is a flag, and that came from the official on the near side. So it's not 14-0 just yet. Let's wait and see what the laundry's all about here. Tim Donovan, our head referee, calls offsides against Warrensville Heights. And he's talking with Lorain head coach James Boyas about what he wants to do. The extra point should be good here, I believe.
It appear that way, but possibly getting that offense back on the field. Could be what they're looking for.
Well, you're right. There seems like there's a bit of a shift in personnel here, so maybe with that penalty, he's thinking about going for 2. At least that's the way it looks right now. You're right. A bunch of different bodies that look like they were set to take a breather. They've scrambled back onto the field.
Yeah, most notably quarterback Chase Davis trotting out there with them as well.
So they will go for a 2-point conversion here. I mean, the penalty doesn't net you much. A yard-ish.
Well, they're very confident in their offensive line, and just from a size standpoint, they outgun, however you want to phrase that, Warrensville Heights.
They'll hand it off inside to J.L. Diaz, and he takes it in for the two-point conversion to make it 15-0. The Titans on top of Warrensville Heights with 1:35 to play here in the first quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. $15-0, Lorain leading Warrensville Heights. Just over 90 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Jacob Rivera ready to kick this back to the Tigers. That's a very successful drive. 65 yards altogether for Lorain. Rivera kicks this away. Ryan Nichols to retrieve it at about the 15-yard line. Takes it past the 20, angling to the near side before he collides with a couple of Titans just shy of the 30-yard line, close to the 29.
Now Amir Harris coming back out there as we saw them put together a few plays for success getting past midfield. And if they can take care of the ball on this drive, it'll definitely go a long way, clearly, in sustaining these drives. But now we'll see how Lorain chooses to adjust. Maybe won't call as much man coverage, but be hard to see them not. They're very confident in who they have in their secondary.
You talked about this during that last drive. You just got the sense that Lorain has certainly picked things up. Defensively, it almost seems like a switch was flipped. And now they just seem to be playing with a little something extra. Harris sends a man in motion, and they'll give it to that man in motion. And that's Zaire Cheney. All kinds of room to run right side. Steps out of a tackle, redirects back toward the inside, then he gets popped at the very end of that play, but not before he gets to the Titan 44-yard line. He took a shot from JoJo Gaines at the very end of the play, but that's more than enough for a first down.
That's right, he made him earn every yard at the end there, and they can't go at him north-south, so they're using some of their great playmakers out on the edge, east and west, and we may see a little bit more of that as the night goes on. Definitely their best play of the night so far.
Zaire Cheney picking up a pretty big chunk there on first down. Bodies shifting on both sides of the line as we get inside of a minute to play here in the first quarter. Harris fires right side. The pass is caught. However, nothing comes of that as they were trying to get that. I think that was Tylen Bryant. He went down close to the 42-yard line.
Boy, and Avery Martin looked like he was shot out of a cannon there to go make that tackle as somebody tried to get a hand on him, but he was just too quick.
Gotta love the replay up here in the press box so I could check my work. That was indeed Tylen Bryant. Unfortunately for Warrensville Heights, it was for a loss of 2 yards. 15 seconds to go in the first. Harris drops back, looks across the middle. The pass is dropped by Brian Nichols. He had him wide open at the 35-yard line, but Nichols was not able to hang on. Max, it almost looked like he wasn't expecting the pass.
Right, and maybe it was just because he was coming out of his break at the moment the ball was coming to him. But with that defensive line, you got to expect it's coming sooner rather than later. And it was good job by Harris there. He had a couple guys coming at him, so the timing was great on his part. Just not fully locked in was his receiver to finish off that great play. It was a good route too. That's the unfortunate part.
3rd and 12 for the Tigers at the Lorain 43. Harris fires left, but we've got whistles. And we've got flags to go along with those whistles. And the official on the far side is indicating that somebody for Lorain was lined up in the neutral zone. It is indeed offsides against Lorain.
Well, now that gives this Warrensville Heights offense a few more options here on what they want to call. Instead of it having to go through the air, they possibly could use a setup play here to make 4th down a little easier. Go with a 2-play setup and maybe get Amir Harris's legs involved.
His legs have been involved a ton here tonight. and we thought that might be the case. Going to be interesting to watch this young man grow. He certainly has a lot of the characteristics that you look for, and he'll get valuable experience this year as a freshman. He's certainly taken some licks, but you mentioned it before, Max. He throws a real nice deep ball, some pretty nice touch on his passes.
And given the deficit, we'll probably get to see a lot of that on display. And with that may come growing pains. He's already experienced a little bit of that to open the season, but that's what's going to make the next few years really likely something special for him if he keeps up at a good rate.
There was some confusion down in the field. I think they've got it rectified. We're ready to go again. Man in motion. It's Turner. He tried to give it to him. The ball's on the turf. It's being kicked around down there, right around the numbers at the 43-yard line. Looks like the Rain came up with it, and the Titans come up with another turnover. They were trying to give it to Jeremiah Turner, but there was an issue with the exchange. That ball pinballed around. It went from the hash toward the numbers, and Lorain is able to capitalize on a Warrensville Heights mistake.
Well, that's the second time we've seen the ball end up on the ground now for the Tigers, and it's effectively putting an end to a lot of momentum being built up on that side of the ball. And right there, it's a shame. I'm not even sure if he was supposed to get the ball, or if he was just a decoy going across the formation. Just timing was a little off there.
These are the kinds of growing pains you expect with a young team. You know, and I think that's not necessarily just being young and inexperienced. You need time to play together a little bit more. Kind of get used to your own personnel and trying to avoid mistakes like that. That's a costly one because they had a third and manageable scenario. They turned it over for the second time inside Lorain territory tonight.
Yeah, you can only simulate the kind of game speed so much in practice, and right now Lorain it doubles down on probably what they're seeing.
Hyro Williams on a keeper, all kinds of room to run. He gets past the 40, off to the races. No one's going to catch him. He goes all the way for a touchdown. A 57-yard touchdown dash for Hyro Williams. He's got the hat trick. That's 3 trips to the end zone for him tonight. And Lorain has taken a 21-0 lead at the end of the first quarter.
Such a brilliant runner with the ball. I mean, did you see? It looked like he was moving in slow motion after he let his blockers set up in front of him. And then as soon as he saw the crease, he hit it, did not look back, and there's nobody catching him.
2 rushing, 1 receiving. And this time we will see Jacob Rivera try and put one through the uprights to make it 22-0 Titans. Technically, he has made 2 extra points. Only one of them counted.
Right.
Somebody jumped for Warrensville Heights. So that's the second time they've been whistled for an offsides penalty and an extra point. And it looks like Coach Boyes is going to do the same thing he did last time. And that's put his offense back on the field for a 2-point conversion.
That's right. They're looking to take full advantage of these opportunities right now. And plus, this gives you a chance to rep this out a little bit, may become valuable. A 2-point conversion attempt may become valuable later in the season. Right now, they're getting a lot of great practice at it in a game situation.
J.L. Diaz is the tailback. Davis waiting on the snap. He gets it. He gives it to Diaz. He plows forward across the goal line. The 2-point conversion is good. And that makes it 23-0 Lorain at the end of 1 quarter of play here on the Lorain County Sports Network. One play after forcing their second turnover of the night, the Lorain offense goes right to work, and it's Hyro Williams finding the end zone for the 3rd time tonight, this time a 57-yard touchdown rush to make it 23-0 Titans over Warrensville Heights. Glad to have you with us tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond on the call. The captain of our ship is Edwin Vereen. He's the director, and we've got Sam Sovacool working the camera as always. The four horsemen out in Lorain tonight. We'll be taking our talents to Vermilion next week for the Vermilion-Huron matchup. That should be a really fun one to call 1 week from tonight. Jacob Rivera to kick this away. High kick that'll bounce at about the 15-yard line. Picked up by Brian Nichols near the 12. Angling to the far side. He breaks the tackle. He's got some room to run. Gets past the 35, and he's dragged down just outside the numbers at the 38-yard line. So a nice return by Brian Nichols.
Well, that's exactly what they needed right there. The senior delivering and giving this offense a good boost to start just inside their own 40. And now opening this second quarter, we saw them take up a good amount of time in the first quarter with some of their drives, as it was scoreless for just about the first half of the opening quarter of the game. So we'll see if they try to go for a similar route here, or if they try to match Lorain here and cut into this deficit quickly.
So out of the huddle comes Amir Harris. For the most part tonight, he's had fellow freshman Jaheim Edwards next to him. They've only given him the rock a couple of times, though. Harris will send a man in motion. He'll take the snap and drop back. Facing some immediate pressure. Steps up and runs, and he gets dropped in the backfield. Ball came out at the end of the play, but the officials ruled him down. They'll spot him down at the 38, so that'll go as a no-gainer.
I mean, you practically have no time to look even through your first progression right there with how quickly Avery Martin came into the backfield. I mean, he was untouched, it looked like.
You're right. He was running for his life from the get-go. I mean, just did not have any time to do anything but scramble and get back to the line of scrimmage. And, Max, the way that play developed, I'm surprised he was even able to do that.
That's right. And this front seven here for Lorain just showing their dominance so far. And it's a big reason how they've been able to get out to this 5-1 start on the season.
Edwards was ready to drop back before we had a bunch of flags come flying in, and I think somebody lined up incorrectly for Lorain. At least that's what the official on the near side said. It is offsides against the Titans.
Well, if there is one part to nitpick about this performance so far from Lorain, they a little more penalties than you'd like to see, especially this far into the season now, and a lot of it procedural stuff that really you'd like to see cleaned up here.
And at 5-1, coming into tonight, ranked 6th, Division I, Region 1. And that's a region that's really top-heavy. You know, toward the bottom, it gets a little lean, but there's some really good teams at the top of that region. And there are some teams you want to avoid at all possible costs in that first round. Second down and 5 for the Tigers. And now we've got whistles and a timeout taken by Lorain head coach James Boyes, who is not happy as he comes onto the field. We'll take this timeout as well. Lorain 23, Warrensville Heights nothing with 10:43 to go in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming out of that Lorain timeout, it'll be 2nd and 5 for the visiting Tigers of Warrensville Heights. Lorain in the driver's seat, 23-0 in this one. Amir Harris has his troops back at the line. Edwards off his right hip. Waiting on this shotgun snap. He gets it, gets rid of it immediately far side. The pass is caught, and then stepping out of bounds right around the 45. At least that's where we're getting initially here from the official on the near side. Now they're saying he stepped out at the 44-yard line. I think that was Tylen Bryant again, one of his top targets.
And I mean, Bryant, he almost started moving backwards right after he got the ball. I understand want to make a man miss, but situation like that. You've been gifted 5 yards on the offsides penalty. Just get what you can, get down, get out of bounds. And now set up right around 3rd and 4 or 5. I mean, this offense, it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out how to attack them downfield. They've had a little bit of success in the screen game.
They'll bunch up 3 receivers on the near side. They've got 1 lined up far side left. Harris is going to run this on a quarterback design run, but he gets drilled at the 40-yard line. Absolutely nowhere for him to go. And he was just smothered by Bird Gaines. Now, that's not his God-given handle. Jemias is his real name, but we've been told just to call him Bird.
Yeah, and he flocking to the ball carrier right there. He just blew that play up before it had a chance. And Amir Harris, a lot of these runs where he's trying to hit these sweeps, Lorain's defense has been able to match his speed.
That ends up being a loss of about 4 yards. And that sets up 4th down and 8. And the offense remains on the field for the Tigers. Same personnel on the field. They haven't changed much here. Harris will step back. Looking down the field, fires across the middle. The pass is tipped away, incomplete. And it was Bird Gaines who got his paws on that one, knocking that away just before midfield to make sure that nobody had a chance to make a play on that. And Bird Gaines flapping his wings and making some serious strides on that last drive. He was huge on those last 2 plays.
I think you described that there perfectly. I mean, the window was a little tight, but it was open downfield as it looked like Cheney was maybe had a step or 2 on his defender, but yeah, Gaines floating around that perfect spot, fully expecting the pass. Obviously, in 4th and long like that, he just read that too easily, and that's one Harris. I mean, there's nowhere else really to go with pressure bearing down on you. You got to go with what's almost open. He just didn't see Gaines on that one.
And that's a pretty big kid dropping back in coverage at 5'9", 200 pounds.
Right.
But he read that play from the get-go and knocked it away. They'll come out the Wildcat again here. And this is a look that we've seen a lot from the Titans so far. They'll send a man in motion. Direct snap, Hyro Williams. He's able to wrestle his way up to about the 29-yard line. It's close to an 11-yard gain on 1st down.
And once again, just following the blockers. That time, Deontay Edwards getting out in front of him and opening up that play for another nice gain there. Looks like you said, almost 11.
They put him down at the 29 as this Lorain offense is on the move yet again. Chase Davis set up in the shotgun again. He'll take the snap. Play action fake. Fires across the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off at the 25-yard line. And he's still going past the 30. The pile's still moving on that far sideline. And it looks like that thing's still going finally out of bounds. Shoved out close to the 40-yard line.
Possibly looks like that might be Zaire Gilbert there on the receiving end.
It was indeed Zaire Gilbert on the interception. Sophomore linebacker, 5'10", $175, and he read that play as they were trying to throw that across the middle, but Gilbert came away with a big pick.
Yeah, it appeared Chase Davis was trying to simulate the play action there, but problem is, he didn't sell it good enough. None of the linebackers bit, and he just slipped right into that zone. And talk about the strength of him and his teammates. I mean, that flipped the field another close to 10 yards, it looked like.
That's the first turnover that the Tiger defense has forced here tonight. 1st down and 10. With the ball at their own 41-yard line, another flag. It'll be offsides against Lorain again.
And, they've had no problem on plays where they've not lined up, getting a head start. I would almost tell these guys just, hey, if you got to be a yard or 2 off and give up a little bit of ground there, it may just be worth it at this point, because right now you don't want Warrensville Heights to eventually end up taking advantage of this.
1st and 5 coming up. And we've seen drives tonight where Warrensville Heights has been able to put a few plays together, get inside Lorain territory, and then things start to go wrong, whether it be penalties or turnovers or execution. It's been a combination of those things, but It's not like they haven't been able to move the ball at all tonight. Harris looks to the near side, facing pressure, throws right side, and the pass is intercepted at the 48-yard line. Johnny Geiger comes away with a sliding pick. The Titans return the favor 2 plays later, and they get the ball back at the 49.
Well, and one of the things that takes the most time to develop as a young quarterback is your internal clock. He pump faked at first to open that play, and the second you do that, especially against a good pass rush like this, you're almost done, and it certainly affected the throw. It was a long throw, too, almost outside the numbers there. You can't do that against this experienced secondary.
They'll put the ball down at the 48. That's 3 turnovers forced by this Lorain defense. Chase Davis with 4 receivers at his disposal. Grabs the snap. Pressure coming, setting up a screen. They throw it across the middle. Caught by Williams. Williams gets to the near sideline, makes a man miss. Following his blockers, he gets hit at the end of the play from behind. And that was Zaire Gilbert who got to him just inside the 25-yard line. And that's another Lorain first down.
And Williams is, he's approaching the 200-yard all-purpose mark already here in the first half. And that's the one way we hadn't seen him used yet is through the halfback screen. And Warrensville Heights, they're very aggressive on that play. It definitely got taken advantage of.
8.5 minutes to play. They'll flip this one on a reverse. This will go to Williams again. Turns the corner left side, gets awfully close. Did he get into the end zone waiting for a signal? Yes, he did. Touchdown. Make it 4 trips to the end zone for Hyro Williams. This one a 23-yard dash to the end zone to make it 29-0 Titans.
What else can we say? He has completely taken over this game virtually by himself. He's at 224 yards on the night now. As you said, 4 touchdowns. He's got the hands on the hips, but deservedly so after this effort, especially on this drive.
Rivera on for the extra point to make it 30-0. Although twice they've lined up for an extra point before an offsides penalty. High snap, they put it down. The extra point from Rivera is on the way and good. It's Lorain 30, Warrensville Heights nothing with 8:26 to go in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Hyro Williams putting on a show tonight. Moments ago, a 23-yard touchdown rush, his 4th trip to the end zone tonight. He has rushed his way to pay dirt 3 times. He also caught one. And Max, he's just having a night.
Yeah, and we knew he's fully capable of chunk plays, but this is ridiculous. The amount of times that he's just finished off drives himself, it's unreal. And it's hard for just about anybody, if not everybody, in the Lake Erie League to try to keep up with. And we talked about how tough that region that they're in for playoffs. Well, I don't know if any of those teams, they're certainly good competition, but Hyro Williams definitely got to be up there for one of the best players in that region right now.
Rivera has it teed up. He'll run forward and get his right foot into it. Squib kick. This will roll down the near sideline and go out of bounds at the 24. This will be a procedure penalty, and Warrensville Heights will take over with all right field position.
And we've seen them in positions like this a few times tonight, and they just haven't been able to really sustain those, get those to be finished off with points. Still, obviously, 8:26 to go, so they're not working against the clock here for 2-minute time or anything like that. So see if we try to get a few more end arounds, a few more run plays in motion here as I don't know if you want to go straight back to the air for a freshman quarterback who did just throw an interception.
Well, they haven't really been able to run the ball well tonight. Lorain's been all over the running game, and that could be why. They've just continued to go through the air. Harris takes the snap and drops back, setting up a screen. It's knocked away. And that was the big fellow, Braden Buchanan, 6'7", 255, a junior. Got his paws on that one and knocked it down, never gave that screen a chance to develop.
I mean, they had him beat. They had their running back there, Edwards, kind of getting out in the open with blockers in front of him too, but just every component of this defense, there's another facet to it. There's another weapon to have to deal with, and certainly the frame of Buchanan is one of those.
Tough guy to miss, right? It's 6'7", 255. He may not be done growing yet. Only a junior.
Right, and I mean, there's other big guys on that defensive line. You can see it on your screen, but he towers over a couple of them as well.
2nd and 10. Back to pass. Harris facing some pressure. He'll step up. He gets corralled and dropped. Went down right around the 33. And that makes this 3rd down scenario all the more difficult for the Tigers.
Well, right now he's just doing what he has to get to the next play, and that's always a tough position to be in as a quarterback, especially Harris, who has been able to make some plays this year, so it's definitely a bit more defeating, but right now you just got to keep continuing to not give Lorain opportunities, not set them up with easy plays, and we're certainly seeing him do his best at that right now to try to prevent that.
There appears to be a little bit of confusion, as I think they had the wrong guys on the field. They had the tight end Artez Williams on, and then he went off, and I think because of that confusion, they want to talk this over. Timeout called by Warrensville Heights. They're down 30-0 to Lorain with 7:31 to go in the 2nd quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. .7:31 left on this 2nd quarter clock. Lorain having all the fun of their homecoming tonight, up 30-0 on Warrensville Heights. Andy Bulbarch, Max Drummond for you on the call. We've got Edwin Vereen, our director. Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight. Enjoying a cool, crisp, early October Friday evening. Harris drops back, pressure coming, fires right side. The pass is caught, and Zaire Cheney gets ripped out of bounds by Johnny Geiger near the 40-yard line. We saw Cheney run off a pretty big run earlier tonight. That time he's able to pick up a decent chunk of yards, 5, maybe 6.
And a great sidearm delivery there, too, by Harris, giving him the chance to go make a play after the catch.
4th and 5. You figure at this point in the game, punting isn't going to do a whole lot for you. So they keep the offense on the field. And look, you want to see what you've got with a young group like this.
That's right, putting them in these tough situations, sometimes see who's able to come out of it.
There was movement up front. It's all a matter of who jumped first here as the officials talk this over. But there was some contact. And the way Lorain is celebrating, it sure looks like somebody moved early. Although we don't see any flags in the field, so maybe there is no penalty. I can't say as though I've ever seen that before. It sure looked like there were a lot of bodies moving back and forth. But
yeah, and it would be even more shocking if it was declined there by either side. So guess we have to figure that out later.
It remains 4th and 5. Harris sets up a screen across the middle. It's intercepted. Picked up by J.L. Diaz. He gets undercut inside the 40 at the 37. And this Lorain defense comes through with another turnover. This time, J.L. Diaz with the pick. And there is a flag back at the 32-yard line. This is going against Warrensville Heights, so it'll be declined and the interception stands.
Yeah, I mean, Diaz almost acted as the receiver there, just on a short hitch route or a stick route. I mean, he was in the perfect position, just floating around that 3 or 4 yards downfield and undercut any of those slants or in routes that Harris may have been looking for.
4 turnovers forced by this Lorain defense. They've forced a couple of fumbles and then interceptions from Johnny Geiger and J.L. Diaz.
Well, they came into the game forcing 9 all season, so I mean, almost halfway to matching that mark.
They'll take over at the Warrensville Heights 38. Already up big in this one, 30-0. In a game that has seen its fair share of penalties on both sides. Davis looks down the field, taking a shot, looking for Hyro Williams. He makes the catch over his shoulder, turning back to the ball at the 7-yard line, and that'll set the Titans up 1st and goal. What an adjustment as that ball was in the air by Hyro Williams. Got turned around once or twice to find that falling out of the sky to set Lorain up for a scoring opportunity again.
Well, and he can thank Osir Kimball for that, because he faked a little screen out in the flats at the line of scrimmage, and that left him one-on-one. And well, we've seen it several times tonight. That's a losing battle every time.
Hyro Williams in the Wildcat, high snap. He has to pick it up on a couple of hops at the 15-yard line, and then he gets taken to the turf for a big loss on the play.
Well, and that officially ends up being the first negative play of the night for Lorain. Obviously not coming in a traditional sense there, but still that may even help them here opening up the passing game, getting a little further away from that end zone.
2nd down and 14. This time it'll be Osir Kimball, the tailback of the formation, along with Chase Davis. They'll send Williams in motion far side to the right. They'll give to Kimball. Kimball breaks one tackle, pushes the pile forward inside the 10. It's still moving forward, and they'll mark him down at the 7-yard line. Well, they get a chunk of that back, bringing up 3rd and goal.
And Kimball refusing to go down there almost makes you feel like he finally wants to match Williams on his impressive night here.
There seems to be a little confusion as they're trying to get the right guys in the right place. And they've got both Osir Kimball and Hyro Williams in the backfield. It'll be a pitch right side of Williams, trying to make it 5 touchdowns. He gets into the end zone for his 5th trip to pay dirt tonight. Hyro Williams having one heck of a homecoming. His 5th touchdown rush of the night, and that'll make it 36-0 Lorain.
I mean, I don't think he could script that better than if he did it himself. I mean, 5 touchdowns on the biggest home game of the year. I mean, that's unreal, man.
Having a hard time figuring out who our Zabel Apparel Company player of the game just might be. Could be a very difficult decision for us.
I think we're going to have a tougher choice trying to choose which size shirt we want to get for it. Wow.
Extra point from Rivera is on the way and good. Lorain 37, Warrensville Heights nothing, with 5:30 to play in the second on the Lorain County Sports Network. It's 37-0. Lorain leading Warrensville Heights. 5:30 left of the second quarter clock, and it's been the Hyro Williams show on homecoming here in Lorain tonight. 5 touchdowns, 4 on the ground, and 1 through the air. Rivera will kick this off. A high pop-up kick that's retrieved at about the 25-yard line. Braylon Donegan takes it past the 40, drags a couple of Titans with him up to about the 49. Donegan with a pretty impressive return.
Yeah, great skill set on display there. I mean, a little bit of shiftiness, a little bit of power at the end. And this will be their best field position of the night. So they've had a few instances being past the 40, but right here on the doorstep of midfield.
Years like this, you figure you may take some lumps, and they've taken some this season, certainly taken some here tonight. When you turn it over 4 times, it makes it really tough to get into any kind of a rhythm. They've certainly had some difficulty doing it this evening, but they've shown some flashes. Harris looking left. He'll fire this one deep down the field. The pass falls incomplete. Their timing was clearly thrown off that time. Looked like he was searching for Brian Nichols.
Well, and they saw great success on Lorain's offensive drive with using a fake screen to set up the wheel route down the sideline just right there. The Titans cornering coverage a lot closer, and like you said, it just didn't allow for any separation to be had there.
And there are certain things I think you're still looking for from a young group. How do you respond in a situation like this? So far tonight, they're trying to find ways to win that battle up front, but Lorain has dominated in the trenches to this point. Pass goes left side, caught out in the flat near the 50-yard line, take it inside Lorain territory and dropped right around the 44.
Yeah, that's a guy right there. We've talked a lot about Harris leading the charge with with a lot of the young players, but Jeremiah Turner, just a sophomore, one of the few skill positions out wide, I should say, that it's getting a lot of playing time as an underclassman. And right there shows a little bit, gets through a couple guys.
And then our conversation during the Stewart TV and Appliance pregame show, Coach Green had mentioned, look, you may see some seniors on the roster, but the seniors that we have are very inexperienced. And that's why we rely a lot on the younger guys that we have, and they start lots of underclassmen. Turner being one of those, he's had a profound impact tonight, responsible for a few of their chunk plays. 3rd down and 3 coming up. Harris looks across the middle. The pass falls incomplete, looking for Zaire Cheney, but that pass was awfully low, and Cheney kind of backed away at the end of that play. I think he heard the footsteps and also didn't think there was much he could do with that, because there were about 3 Navy jerseys ready to light him up if he had caught that pass.
No, you read my mind there. I mean, there was at least 2 guys that might be better off of him not catching that, because even if he'd gotten his hands on it or near it, it may have been broken up anyway, or a fumble. I mean, they're still in a very manageable 4th down spot here.
4th and 3. With the ball at the Lorain 44-yard line. Harris fires left side. Got that out in the flat to Nichols. Nichols twisted down, lost the ball at the end of the play. It looked like he may have had first down yardage if he didn't fumble it, but Lorain will jump on it. And they come away with their 5th turnover of the night.
It appeared he may have tried to extend for the yard to gain at around the 41. And don't check that. I mean, Avery Martin just punched that one out, and it's definitely a tough pill to swallow there, and puts an end to another offensive drive.
Bird Gaines recovered it, and my apologies, that was Tylen Bryant who caught the pass and lost it there at the very end. And it looked like he might have had enough for a first down if he hung on, but that Lorain defense has just come through one series after another.
Well, we touched on it last drive. I mean, I didn't think it was possible. They may be in serious consideration of almost matching their turnovers forced this year. They're at 9 and already up at 5 for this evening. It's very impressive to see here.
Chase Davis grabs the snap, shuffles it left side, gets it to Hyro Williams, trying to turn the corner left side. He's knocked out of bounds. He was hit by Zaire Cheney, and he had to hurdle the bench on the Lorain sideline.
Yeah, shout out to our cameraman Sam getting that as well. Get him on the track for hurdles next spring. Wow.
Sam was a track guy in high school, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
I think he was all-state. If not, he should have been. I think there are some awards named after him, aren't there, at Westlake, if I'm not mistaken? At least 3 or 4.
We should have checked with them back when we had them to open the season.
Davis setting up a screen. Gets this one across the middle to Hyro Williams. He's able to take it past first down yardage, and he's tripped up, goes down near the 49. So the screen nets them another fresh set of downs.
And yeah, no, he's still a full part of this game plan. And right now, there is an interesting part of this offense. So obviously we know what they've been capable of, but they're also doing it with a shuffled offensive line. Earlier in the game, their center Lamar Miller exited, so now they've had to shuffle a few things, and they're still having no problems.
Coming up on the 3-minute mark here in the second quarter, all Lorain tonight, 37-0, and they're on the move again after forcing their 5th turnover. Chase Davis wants the snap, he gets it, and they'll hand this one off. TJ Allen goes straight up the gut, pushes his way past the 50 to the 48 of Warrensville Heights.
Well, a heads-up play there by Deontay Edwards. He actually jumped on the ball at the end, so the ball carrier may have been down, but still a heads-up play there by the Titan offensive lineman.
Not the kind of night where you'd think that ball security would be an issue, but it has been to some degree. Lorain clearly in no hurry here. No need to be. They'll also get the ball. I take that back. Warrensville Heights will get the ball to begin the second half. They won the coin toss and deferred. Davis rolling out near side left. Avoided that first set of pressure. Then he got drilled back at the 45-yard line. It looked like maybe that was Nate Allison who got in on that stop. They'll mark him down at the 47 for a loss of 2.
Well, that time, the Warrensville Heights secondary stayed back. They gave them plenty of cushion, and it paid off as Williams could not break the top off of that defense, forcing a couple pump fakes and just ultimately to take the sack, which was finished off that time by Nate Allison, the senior on the Tigers' defensive front.
And while Allison was credited with the sack, it was the linebacker, Davion Rawls, who jumped up and he forced Davis to pull that down, allowing a little bit of extra time for Allison to come away with the sack. And we've got a timeout called by Warrensville Heights. We'll take this timeout as well. Lorain 37, Warrensville Heights nothing, with 1:25 to go before halftime on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back out to George Daniel Field here in Lorain on homecoming. Titans up big in this one, 37-0. Looking at a 3rd and 12 scenario here. That last timeout burned by Warrensville Heights was their final timeout of the opening half. Chase Davis, 5'9", 190 senior quarterback, works out of the shotgun, takes the snap, and they'll hand this one off to Asir Kimball up the middle, nowhere to go. He gets stood up, and it'll be a no gain on the play, so the interior of that Warrensville Heights defensive front able to deny Lorain, bringing up 4th down.
And it's been rare times that we've seen Lorain have to operate out of a 4th down offense and play calling here, but looks like they're going to attempt to do so.
They'll keep Davis and the offense on the field. Hyro Williams, the tailback, and this 4-receiver look. Now inside of a minute to play. Davis drops back. Lots of pressure coming. Setting up a screen. Williams somehow leaped up to bring that down, but then Nate Allison said, He was able to tear him to the turf at the 45 for a loss of 2. And that's a great defensive series by Nate Allison, the 5'10", 220-pound senior defensive tackle.
Well, and he's one of the more experienced guys on this roster, obviously with the senior title. And he learned from the play earlier in the game where they gave up that big screen run right there, diagnosed it, and did a good job ending that play and not letting another Lorain drive continue.
And they'll get the ball at the Titans' 45. So really good field position with 46 seconds to work with. Amir Harris working with 4 receivers. They'll send Cheney in motion. Harris throws this one deep down the far sideline. The pass is caught in stride by Nichols for a touchdown. It's a 45-yard touchdown pass to Brian Nichols. And Warrensville Heights is on the board with 39 seconds left in the second.
Well, and finally the man-on-man, one-on-one coverage burned Lorain as Nichols showed off the speed there, and great throw by Harris. As we've seen, obviously we talked about, we've seen a few of those type of throws. This first one that's connected, and it's a thing of beauty when it does happen. Wow.
When you're down by this margin, there's not much point in kicking the extra point, I suppose. They'll keep the offense on the field. They'll bunch up 3 receivers, far side to the left. Amir Harris will have Edwards off his right side. They'll send a man in motion. Harris scrambling left, looking to the back of the end zone, lobs this one up, and the pass is caught out of bounds, incomplete. So the 2-point conversion is no good. 37-6 is our score with 39 seconds left in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Just under 40 seconds remain here in the second quarter. Lorain leads 37-6. Coming up at halftime, we have the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime report. Uninsured, enroll today with Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. We'll give you a first half recap, some scoring highlights. Max will put the abacus to work and give you some first half stats. We'll also check out some other scores going on across Lorain County as the playoff picture continues to take shape here in week 7. All that and more coming up at the half.
And I can't wait to find out what I'm putting together. That was a big word to use there, boy. You got me a little lost.
You're a younger guy, man. You've probably never heard of the abacus, right?
It may be in passing.
Fair enough. The abacus even predates me, right? And I'm the dinosaur of this group, so. Warrensville Heights will kick it away. This will bounce at about the 30-yard line. This will be picked up close to the 25. Geiger breaks a tackle, and then he's spun down near the 41-yard line. And look, you're always looking for something to work off of, and you're looking for a positive to bring out of this. Well, you know, that last drive, that was a really good-looking pass.
Yeah, and, throughout the rest of this season, if they're able to find a few more connections like that, and you know, with a guy that, like you mentioned, made a big jump from playing football last fall to this fall against high school competition, half a season still isn't relatively enough time to get that timing, get those chemistry with your receivers down, and if they can do a little bit more of that, it will go a long way in helping in that.
Not sure what to expect from this Lorain offense with 32 seconds. They do have 2 timeouts to work with, but up big in this game. They certainly don't have to force the issue. Davis will grab the snap, play action fake, fires across the middle, caught by Kimball. Kimball takes it down the right hash. No one's going to stop him. He goes all the way for the touchdown. 59 yards through the air. Chase Davis's second touchdown toss of the night. He connects with Osir Kimball. And Lorain has taken a 43-6 lead with 21 seconds left in the first half.
Well, with that, Kimball now becomes the second guy on that offense to get over 100 total yards. I won't take too many guesses to figure out who the other one is, but just a great job over the middle, taking advantage of no deep safety, really. He just split the difference of the corners. And obviously, that speed does the rest.
Yeah, and Lorain has kind of made this a one-sided track meet. They've got so many guys that can beat you when they get out in open space. Extra point was tipped. It was blocked at the line of scrimmage and redirected, so it's no good. It remains 43-6. 21 seconds left on the second quarter clock. We'll go ahead and keep this one right here. You mentioned that coming up at the half, we have the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. And well, before we get to that, we'll shout out some of our other sponsors, like Jones Bones Barbecue and Grub, the official barbecue of Lorain County Friday Night Lights. Smoking Good Barbecue. Richard Ramsey for Judge. Vote Ramsey for Judge. Brian Baker for Lorain County Commissioner. Paid for by the friends of Brian Baker. And we'll have plenty of other sponsor shout-outs when we get to the half, which will be loaded with scoring highlights, first half stats, scores from across the area, and much more.
Really excited to see how a lot of matchups are shaping up across the county as we also get deeper into conference title discussions. Well, certainly excited to look around at that on the Lorain County Friday Night Lights Facebook page.
Rivera will kick it away. High end over end kick. And this will be retrieved by Donegan at the 20. And he runs out of room to run. Boy, he was trying to go east and west. And that Lorain kickoff coverage team caught up to him about 4 yards down the field.
And they've been very consistent tonight outside of the previous one. So you almost had a feeling that they were going to find a way to make up for that. And J.L. Davis and company certainly did.
So with 16 seconds left in the second quarter, we said this a few moments ago, but you wonder how creative Warrensville Heights will get now.
If they'll choose to take another shot of some kind.
I mean, it doesn't hurt you when you're down 43-6.
Worked out the last time as well.
And the other end of it, you know, you're down 43-6, you know, just kind of lick your wounds and go into the half and try and figure some things out. There's some confusion in the backfield trying to line up the tailback, Jaheim Edwards. Now they've got him on the right side. Harris takes a shot down the field looking for Tyler Bryant. Almost had that one, but it was knocked away, incomplete by the safety, Ray Smith.
Yeah, it was the 10s going against each other right there. And I thought I thought Bryant did a good job trying to time up his jump. Just a good, clean break up there by the senior Smith.
We've mentioned his name a couple of times tonight. And Bryant's one of the go-to guys in this passing attack for Amir Harris. And catching up with Coach Green. In our pregame interview yesterday, he said that Walsh has actually had a couple of guys to come out and take a look at some of their players, and he said that Bryant was one of those guys. And look, Walsh, the Cavaliers, that's a solid Division II institution. For a while there, they competed in the GLIAC. Now in the GMAC with a lot of other Ohio schools.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts about Ohio football, especially at the college level. There's so many levels that give opportunities, these guys.
Harris dumps it down the field, caught by Turner. Turner gets to the 45-yard line, wrestled down to the 46, and that'll be the final play of the half. So halfway through this one, all Lorain on their homecoming, leading Warrensville Heights 43-6. We'll step aside and take a timeout, and when we come back, we will get right into the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. This is the Friday night game of the week on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Enjoying the sounds of the Lorain Marching Band here on the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. Uninsured, enroll today with Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. At the half, Lorain 43, Warrensville Heights 6. Glad you've dialed in tonight on our Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond with you. El Capitan, Edwin Vereen, our director, and Sam Sovicol working the camera tonight. We'll get into our scoring recap, take a look at some first half stats, and then we'll take a timeout, rate the dog, and we'll take a look at some scores from across the area as well. But let's begin with the scoring recap. The first two drives of the game did not produce any points, but it took just 2 plays into Lorain's second drive of the night for them to put up the first points of the evening as Chase Davis found Hyro Williams on a 56-yard touchdown pass to make it 7-0 Titans. That was the beginning of a monster half for Hyro Williams, who found the end zone a handful of times. He caught the one we just told you about, and then he ran it in 4 times after that. After forcing a fumble, they would march right down the field. They had a touchdown called back because of a penalty, but then a 5-yard touchdown rush from Hyro Williams made it 15-0 with a $1:35 to play in the first quarter. It was 15 because there was a 2-point conversion ran in by J.L. Diaz. They would force another fumble, and they would take advantage again. And this time, Hyro Williams needed just 1 play to dash 57 yards down the field to make it 23-0 Lorain at the very end of the first quarter. Both teams exchanged interceptions. They happened within 2 plays of each other. Zaire Gilbert intercepted a pass just outside the red zone for Warrensville Heights, but then 2 plays later, Johnny Geiger was able to answer that call with a pick of his own, and it didn't take Lorain very long to respond. 2 plays after the interception, Williams found pay dirt again on a 23-yard touchdown rush to make it 30-0. J.L. Diaz had a big interception 4 plays into that next drive for Warrensville Heights. It was the 4th of 5 turnovers in the opening half forced by that Lorain defense. After the Diaz interception, it was you-know-who, Hyro Williams, on a 5-yard touchdown rush to make it 37-0 with 5.5 minutes to play. They would turn the ball over on downs in their next drive, though, and the very next play resulted in a 45-yard touchdown pass from Amir Harris to Brian Nichols to make it 37-6. That was the only score of the game for Warrensville Heights, but it came in a pretty big play as well. And we thought that maybe Lorain would just kind of let the last 32 seconds come off the clock in the opening half. Nope, that was not the case at all, as Chase Davis went to the air again through his second touchdown pass of the night. This one a 59-yarder to Osir Kimball to make it 43-6, and that's where we stand halfway through this one. Clearly some big plays in this one, but it has been the Hyro Williams show so far, Max.
I mean, you're absolutely right. And the thing that's stood out to me is how many different ways they can get involved. And the offense, as creative as it is, it's also very simple in a way. Chase Davis, a lot of these RPOs and these screens, it's a lot of the decision falls on him, and it's only 1 look, 2nd look, and if it's not there, take off. But it's been there pretty much every time, especially when throwing in the direction of number 1, who, I mean, I in a way would like to think him and Kimball, they're interchangeable in the ways they can use them, but I mean, they both just bring so much talent and skill to this offense.
Yeah, and I think statistically speaking, at least coming into this game, I think the numbers certainly defend that point. Anybody that's played against this team would probably tell you the same thing. All right, let's take a look at some of those first half stats brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA. It's all about the numbers. That's Alan Januzzi CPA.
Well, we'll begin with the man himself that we've talked about almost all first half into open halftime here. Hyro Williams on the ground, 8 carries, 125 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then as a receiving option, 6 for 140 and a touchdown. So, I mean, he's already at 265 yards on the night, 5 total touchdowns. I mean, I got to be honest, a couple weeks back when we watched Padua, Elyria Catholic, we saw Rod Love for Padua, total of 270. I thought that would be the peak of our season here, and it looks like Williams might have a chance to break that on his own. And then the other option, Kimball has the 59-yard touchdown catch. He's also got 62 on the ground. Chase Davis, almost picture perfect, 9 of 12, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that offense firing on all cylinders, averaging 14 yards a play We'll flip over to Warrensville Heights, who they've had their moments. They've had at times where they've been able to get a couple big plays going on and have an effective drive. They just haven't been able to finish them. They've had them cut short by some turnovers like you talked about there. So looking at the freshman quarterback Amir Harris, 9 of 17, 104 yards passing, a touchdown, a couple interceptions on the night. But all in all, I don't think he's played very bad. He's kept them out of bad situations behind schedule most of the time, and that's dealing with what is probably one of the best pass rushes he'll see all season across from him. His top receiving target after the big passing play there near the end of the half, Brian Nichols, that one grab for 45 yards and a touchdown. And we've also seen Tylen Bryant, the fellow senior, with 5 targets, 4 catches, 14 yards. And then on the ground, they just really haven't been able to find much of a rhythm. The one big play coming from Zaire Cheney, who broke off a 29-yard run. So you compare the total yards difference, it's around almost 300 advantage to Lorain. Just a bit of a difference there, and obviously a very veteran team on both sides of the ball, and that's on full display here.
We will revisit some keys and apply those to the second half a little bit later on in our halftime show and just kind of see what the plan might be for a team like Warrensville Heights in this one moving forward. Again, just trying to search for any signs of positive momentum. And for Lorain, look, I think for at least a quarter, they're not letting up on the gas, knowing what's ahead the next few weeks. You know, in the Lake Erie League, it's their last year in the league. You certainly get the impression that they want to put their foot to the gas a bit here as they get to the finish line and put themselves in a position to perhaps host a playoff game here in the first round. That's certainly within the realm of possibility over the next few weeks. Let's step aside and take another timeout here on our halftime show, brought to you by Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance. When we come back, we will rate the dog and take a look at what's going on in other high school football stadiums in and around Lorain County. Here at George Daniel Field in Lorain, it's the Titans 43, Warrensville Heights 6 on the Lorain County Sports Network. At the half here at George Daniel Field, Lorain 43, Warrensville Heights 6. Homecoming here in Lorain, and everybody here enjoying the festivities. We've seen a few races down on the track throughout the night, and that's been a lot of fun for us to watch. We saw one a few moments ago here at halftime. We saw a couple going on during pregame as well. On the field, the Titans are having all the fun with that 43-6 advantage. Time now for us to rate the dog, brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna. Brian says, enjoy the game. And when Brian says, enjoy the game, we'll do just that. And courtesy of our cameraman, Sam Sovacool, we get to enjoy some hot dogs as well. That was a pretty solid dog, Max, I got to tell you. And look, they're doing something right at that concession stand down there, because that line for a minute there was wrapped all the way around the track.
That's right. The whole fence line was taken up. Almost no room left for standing room when the second half gets started.
Tell you what, it's a solid dog. No doubt about that. Some stiff competition when you take a look at all the other places that we've been to this year. I would give that I'd give it a 4.2. I'd say somewhere in that general vicinity. Nothing wrong with that dog at all. Pretty solid bun to dog ratio. And in some places that might be an issue. Sometimes too much bun, but I thought the ratio was perfect.
Yeah, I think it definitely did the job. I'm in that same vicinity within a half a point or so. I'm going to come in at a 3.8. I enjoyed it, and I like a little more. My dog cooked a little bit more, and the one end was split open a bit, so I knew that was the case there. So it was definitely a very solid hot dog here for high school stadium.
You'd like it cooked more. It wasn't making any noises, was it?
No, I don't go that route with my food. I don't like the rare side.
All right. Well, let's ask the rest of the crew. Edwin, Sam, what are you guys going with? 4.3 from Edwin, 4.1 from Sam. So right around that 4-point area. I was never around 4.0 when it came to GPA in school, man. So I like hanging out with you guys. You make me look and sound a heck of a lot better. All right. Again, the Rate the Dog segment brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna Real Estate. Brian says, enjoy the game. We promise you scores from around the area. Let's take a look. In the LC8, Keystone having their way with Brookside 36-7 at the half. Black River blanking Oberlin 42-0. That game in the second quarter. Clearview up 14-6 on Firelands at the half. That's a game a lot of people had highlighted. Columbia 20, Wellington 7. That game also at the half. In the SWC, Avon all over Berea Mid-Park 28-0 in the third. Avon Lake leads Elyria 21-0 at the half. A game with a great deal of intrigue. One of the up-and-coming teams in the SWC, Amherst, taking out a team that's been near the top of the standings in Olmsted Falls. But right now, Old Falls has the lead 24-13. That one is also at the half. Midview was able to put one over on North Ridgeville last year. Ridgeville came in with revenge on their minds. So far, they lead by 10. 17-7 is the score there halfway through that one. A little bit of a surprise with this score. Benedictine leading Elyria Catholic 14-9. EC has certainly had their struggles this year. Max, you and I saw Benedictine in that second week of the season when they took down Avon Lake in Avon Lake, and they did so in convincing fashion. So it's a little surprise to me to see Benedictine struggling with EC the way they are, even though they are up 14-9 at the half.
Yeah, and I'd be interested going back and watching the replay later on tonight or tomorrow if some of their big threat players have been contained or if maybe there's a couple turnovers mixed into that. But, yeah, EC definitely holding their own right now, and excited to see how that one ends up finishing out.
Yeah, look, that could be a huge win for Elyria Catholic if they're able to find a way to come from behind and win that one. That's a monster win if they can get it against a really good Benedictine team. In the SBC, Vermilion leads Port Clinton 23-7 at the half. We'll be in Vermilion next week when they take on Huron, and Sandusky shutting down Norwalk 28-0. That game is in the third quarter, of course, here. Warrensville Heights trailing Lorain 43-6. Thank you to the captain of our ship, Edwin Vereen, for tracking down those scores. And we're about 90 seconds away from getting this second half started, so we'll take one last timeout, and then we'll come back to get you ready for the second half kickoff between Lorain and Warrensville Heights here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Just a few moments away from starting the second half of action, where Lorain at home on their homecoming leads Warrensville Heights 23-6. He's Max Drummond. I'm Andy Bolbarch. Edwin Vereen, our director tonight, and Sam Sovacol in charge of the camera. Max, before we get to the second half kickoff, let's take a look at some keys for both teams in the second half.
Well, we talked about Lorain at the beginning of this game being able to spread the wealth, get a lot of different guys involved, and they have to an extent, but really, we've seen a heavy focus to Hyro Williams, and in this second half, I got to imagine they won't put as heavy a burden on him, even if he's out there for extended periods. So interested to see how they divvy up the volume on offense. And then over for Warrensville, we talked about getting the ball out quickly, and I'd say to a large extent, Amir Harris has done a pretty solid job at that, and he's taken off when he's had to. He's made sure that he's doing everything he can that this offense doesn't get behind the chains, isn't put into bad situations like 3rd and long, 4th and long, and they've even been able to get helped out with some penalties. So I'd really like them to be able to take advantage of a few of those, whether it's an offsides, maybe a pass interference down the field, just in some way, some fashion, take advantage of that to continue these drives past the 40-yard line, the 30-yard line of Lorain, and be able to get more deeper into Lorain's territory.
Lots of work to do. Down 43-6 when we begin the second half. Running clock will certainly be in play with a 37-point deficit. Wanted to mention something real quick. So they had the captains go out there before the game, and they'll have one captain usually show up at the 50-yard line to talk to the officials as they begin the second half. They sent Tristan Pace out there, Warrensville Heights did. And he's one of the guys that stands out, not because he's a large individual at 6'1", 270. And talking with Coach Bronson Green, he had mentioned that, he's one of those guys that gets some recognition off the field because he made All-State in esports. He's a big gamer off the field. And he said it's one of those things that has just kind of taken off in recent years, but he was All-State. I didn't even know they did All-State for esports, but that whole thing's really taken on a life of its own. So props to that young man. That's a tough thing to do because that gaming world is a tough one to make it in.
Yeah, and I mean, I think maybe there is some things that translate from on the field here to on the sticks over on the screens, playing like that. But, I mean, that's a very cool thing and definitely sets up a few more opportunities as he continues to look forward here through his senior year. So that's very cool to hear.
You a gamer?
A little bit. I like the sports games. That was my next question. I want to know which games he's experienced and which ones. He probably beat me at any of the ones that I suggested. But, yeah, just a little bit when I find time.
What games do you play?
Well, the new EA college football.
Oh, yeah.
Game, the big comeback of that. I've been waiting. I was one of the ones waiting 11 years, man, for it to be back. So I've had some fun with that and a couple of the baseball and basketball games, too. So it's not just here in work that I enjoy sports. It's also obviously extends elsewhere.
Love playing the golf game, man. There are a couple of them out there. Yeah, so 2K's got one. EA Sports has one. They're both pretty solid, both pretty awesome.
I may have to look into that because my golf game out on the course itself, not as great. Maybe that'd be a way to boost my confidence a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. You play a golf video game, it makes you feel like you can do what you see on the screen.
Right, that's what
Only it's just not that easy. Yeah. All right. Enough about our gaming experience. It's time to kick this sucker off. Rivera will get his right foot into it. Nichols will retrieve it right around the 10-yard line. He takes it up past the 20, going east and west, breaks one tackle past the 25, still on his feet along that far sideline, finally dragged down out of bounds near the 40. Good return by Brian Nichols.
Well, that's the second time now we've seen them be able to break out into the open field there along a sideline. So it seems like whenever they've been able to extend those kickoff returns laterally, I mean, it's worked out a bit for them.
Bird Games was a name that we called earlier. Couple times on defense. I think he's got the biggest hit so far and is in the early running for Ernie's auto body collision of the game. We could see a couple more in the second half, but in a game that's got so much or so many points between the two teams, you just kind of wonder how much of that you might see, how violent or how physical this could get. Harris will send a man in motion. Waiting on the snap, he gets it, fires near side left, that goes through the wickets, and it's intercepted. Johnny Geiger with his second interception of the game. He was trying to get it to Nichols. The pass looked like it touched his fingertips, and it floated toward Geiger, who comes away with his second interception. Make that 6 turnovers for this Lorain defense tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Just a little too tall to try to go up and get. And, I mean, he was being blocked when that ball hit the receiver's hand. So, I mean, to come under it, to now hold the Titans' sword over here as their turnover celebration, I mean, that's just an amazing play there by the senior defensive back. Wow.
Some people talk about the changes in the game, and some people like it, some people don't. I think that's one of the greatest additions, the turnover celebration. These teams have gotten so creative with that. You talked about the sword here last week, North Ridgeville with the slam dunk, that mini hoop on the sideline.
You know, for whatever reason, it just seems to add a little more incentive, a little more motivation to go finish those plays off.
So they'll take over at the 37-yard line. Davis will take the snap, looks left, throws left. This is caught across the middle. Hyro Williams again off to the races, making a half dozen trips to the end zone. He goes all the way again. This time it's a 37-yard pitch and catch from Chase Davis to Hyro Williams. We talked about gaming a few minutes ago. He's having a video game type performance here tonight.
There's no other way to describe it. I mean, he came in with 7 receiving touchdowns on the season. That's 6 total touchdowns, 5 receiving tonight. I mean, this Titans offense and team as a whole is just attempting to match their stats coming into this game here. After 6 weeks of football, Bull, I mean, this is quite a performance.
Rivera on for the extra point, on the way and good. Lorain having all the fun here tonight. They're now up 50-6 with the running clock in play on the Lorain County Sports Network. Hyro Williams with his 6th trip to pay dirt tonight, catching a 36-yard touchdown pass from Chase Davis. That's the second time those two have hooked up for 6. Davis has had a pretty busy evening himself. He's thrown a trio of touchdown passes. Williams has rushed for 4, and he's caught 2 touchdowns in this one. Jacob Rivera will kick this away. High end over end. Nichols comes up to about the 11-yard line. He's out past the 20, finds a seam in the middle of the field. He's off to the races. Only Rivera to beat. He'll blow by him at the 40. Nichols is going to go the distance. It's an 89-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for Brian Nichols. That's his 2nd touchdown of the night. And Warrensville Heights now up to a dozen, trailing 50-12 with inside of 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
I mean, exchanging punches now. Wow. And it almost felt like it was just a matter of time before one of these ones down the sideline could break it. I mean, right there. Great job by Nichols just continuing to fight here in this 3rd quarter.
And Coach Green told us that during the pregame show. Look, he loves this about his team. Sure, things haven't gone well for him this year, but he said these guys aren't going to stop fighting. And that's a direct reflection of the head coach. The fact that they came into this thing winless. Again, a lot of things have gone against them, but they're not giving up. We'll go for 2 here. Again, running clock in play, with the score being as lopsided as it is. Amir Harris was by himself in the backfield. Actually, he'll still be by himself as they'll bunch up 3 receivers near side left. They've got a wing on the right side. He'll take the snap, looking left, throws left, incomplete. He was looking for Jeremiah Turner, and the incompletion means no good on that two-point conversion attempt. It's 50-12 Lorain with 6:47 to play in the third on the Lorain County Sports Network. After an 89-yard kickoff return for a touchdown from Brian Nichols, the Warrensville Heights Tigers have their second score of the game. Nichols was involved in their first one as well, as he caught a 45-yard touchdown pass from Amir Harris. Tylen Bryant getting ready to kick it off, and they're having an issue with the kicking tee as he tries to tee this up at the 40-yard line. We haven't seen a ton of Warrensville Heights kickoffs tonight. Brian ready to send this back to Lorain that just has so many kids that have big play capability and are always a threat to go the distance.
And you know they're just looking for an opportunity to match that, try to show off that they can do it too.
Brian kicks this down the right hash, picked up on a hop near the 25-yard line, and the ball is loose. It's on the deck at the 25. Warrensville Heights says they've come away with it, and indeed they did. So the Tigers force a turnover, and they'll get outstanding field position just outside the red zone at the Lorain 25.
Yeah, great job by Braylon Donegan that time, hopping on that. It looked like one of the Titans there might have had a chance. Ray Smith, somebody there for Lorain had a chance to hop on it, but not before Donegan was able to get it back and now set him up at here just outside the red zone.
And look, this will give this offense a little bit of extra juice. Kind of been looking for that. Even if it is deemed too little too late at this point, like we said during halftime, you're looking for something positive to build off of if you're Warrensville Heights. They'll send a man in motion. They'll give it to that man in motion. That'll be Zaire Chauncey. He gets tripped up and he goes down. Zaire Cheney, take it back. He goes down about the 22, so he picked up maybe 3 on that. And they've run that play to Cheney before, picked up a pretty big chunk.
Yeah, they're able to get 29 on the last one. Obviously right there, not as much as that, not able to create the same impact, but it's a lot more successful than what most of their runs have been tonight. I mean, several times they've been caught behind the line of scrimmage. So right there, just a good way to start the drive, and there hasn't been enough of that so far. And that's one of those things you talk about with improving and taking those steps forward for the rest of this season. It's just simple plays like that. Obviously, it's not going to blow anybody away, but it's definitely going to help get these drives started and a little more confidence for this offense.
Extra protection in the backfield. They brought the tight end, Artez Williams, in the backfield along with Amir Harris. And they're having some communication issues here trying to get this snap off. They'll fire right side. Passes bobbled and hauled in along the far side. And they didn't gain much on that. Picked up maybe a yard on that. Tylen Bryant. And Bryant's only able to pick up about a yard, so they get a small chunk, bringing up third down.
And that's where we've seen Bryant catch a lot of these passes at, and almost relying on him to make something happen after the catch here, take a little bit of pressure off Amir Harris and trying to push it down the field.
Third down coming up for Warrensville Heights. 4 minutes to play here in this third quarter. With a running clock, they're down 50-12. Empty backfield for Harris. Now they'll send a man in motion. They'll fake the give to him. Harris airs this out towards the end zone. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. And it was Johnny Geiger on the coverage again. He's been a very busy man here tonight. A third down denial there, and he also has a couple of picks.
Well, Geiger there, he did have safety help over the top as JoJo Gaines was in the area to help him out, but he didn't need it. I mean, he just went up as if he was playing receiver, almost came down with it himself on like a fade route. He's been, like you said, very impressive this evening in the back end for them.
Well, this time they're actually huddling up. And I think those communication issues on that last third down play may have forced Coach Green to say, you know what, let's get together and try and get on the same page. They'll bring the tight end Artez Williams in the backfield for some extra protection on 4th down and 9. Back to pass Harris. Throws this one left side. He's got a man open. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. He was looking for Zaire Cheney again. That one was thrown maybe a bit short. And they will turn the ball over on downs.
Well, we go from one side of the field, Geiger, to the other, where Ray Smith did get caught napping a little bit. He was forced to try to catch up to that one. He didn't get his eyes turned around to the ball, but he's in there at the same time it arrived, so it looks like that's why there's no penalty, despite Warrensville Heights looking for one.
Well, and catching up with Coach Boyes earlier this week, you know, he mentioned he wants to keep his starters in the game as long as he possibly can. I imagine you'll see them at least through the end of the third quarter. Davis looking to his right, throws to his right. The pass is caught out in the flat. It's once again hauled in by Hyro Williams. He gets undercut at the 39-yard line. And he was tackled by Zaire Gilbert, who's been all over the place here tonight.
Yeah, we've seen several times. It's not easy to do that. Okay, that's not a routine tackle, even if you're working with the sideline there. So a nice job to shut that down there, but an even better job by guys like Osir Kimball setting up the blocks for Williams on a play like that.
They pick up a fresh set of downs. Play action fake. Pass goes across the middle. The ball is popped into the air, and it is almost intercepted. Did they say he had possession? Yes, they did. So they're going to call that a fumble. From here, it looked like maybe that was an incomplete pass, and he didn't have possession, but the officials said he did. So the ball belongs to Warrensville Heights. They create another turnover. I want to watch this on the replay here. And
so I was thinking, don't want to make our viewers jealous, but it appears so the ball did hit the ground, but like you said, they may have had him establishing possession there.
And who was at the center of the play again? Zaire Gilbert. Well, that young man has had a pretty nice night considering the circumstances. He has been flying all over the field defensively.
That's right. At that linebacker spot there, he's being asked to do a lot trying to keep up with these guys, both in the run and pass.
And we have a timeout on the field. We'll step aside and take this timeout as well. Lorain 50, Warrensville Heights 12 with 47 seconds left in the third quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Zaire Gilbert forced a fumble a few moments ago, and Warrensville Heights will get the ball back on the Titan side of the field. They have it at the Lorain 43-yard line. This came moments after they turned the ball over on downs. Their drive stalled just outside the red zone. They're down with 42 seconds to play in this third quarter, 50-12, running clock in play. Amir Harris sends a man in motion. Trots back to pass. Looking down the field, the pass is knocked away, and it's caught inside the 25-yard line. What a catch in traffic. He was able to get that into the arms of Zaire Cheney, and we have an injured player down in the field close to where that play ended. Terrific concentration by Cheney to hang on to that.
I don't know how Harris found him in there. I mean, he had a defender all over his back, so quite a connection on that play.
Ray Smith is the injured Titan down on the field, and while they tend to him, we will take another quick timeout and come back with an update here in just a moment. 19 seconds left in the third. Lorain 50 and Warrensville Heights 12 on the Lorain County Sports Network. Ray Smith comes off the field under his own power, thankfully. It's good to see that young man make his way to the near sideline. And after the injury timeout, it's first down and 10 for Warrensville Heights at the Lorain 25. In all likelihood, this will be the last play of the third quarter with the running clock. Harris will bring a man in motion near side. The snap goes right past him. It goes past the 40-yard line. Harris has to slide on it and pick it up at the 43. Well, that took a couple of unfortunate bounces for Warrensville Heights. A low snap that just skipped right by Harris, and that takes us to the end of the third quarter. 3 down, 1 to go. Lorain 50, Warrensville Heights 12 on the Lorain County Sports Network. Getting set to begin the fourth quarter here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. Titans having all the fun on their homecoming, leading the visiting Warrensville Heights Tigers 50-12. And coming up here in just a few moments, it'll be second down and a country mile for Warrensville Heights after that fumbled snap that ended the third. Max, been a tough game for Warrensville Heights, but they do have some things to build off of so far as we get set to begin the fourth.
Well, and the encouraging part is a decent amount of these mistakes and mishaps are correctable. You know, the low snaps there and not having to force 50-50 balls as often. Maybe if they're able to find a few more options underneath or just check downs, that could be a big part that could help Amir Harris's game go a long way. But there's definitely a few things that they can look back at and just, like I said, clean up, change up a little bit going forward.
Second down and 28 officially. Harris drops back, looking down the field, fires down the field, incomplete. He had a man wide open too. He was looking for Brian Nichols, who had a couple of steps on his defender.
Yeah, you can tell Harris upset with himself after that one as it comes in a little low. Osir Kimball, who we haven't said his name a lot on defense, that's because he's been very capable in the back end in coverage. He turf monster got him where he just took a misstep, and it cost him at least a couple yards of separation there, and it could have been another deep ball touchdown for the Tigers. Lorain very fortunate there.
So 3rd and 28, although it's 4 down territory here. You don't have to pick all of it up on this particular play, but still that's a lot of ground to try and pick up here to make it a 4th and manageable situation. We have got nearly 30 yards to go to move the sticks. Harris shouting at his offensive lineman, trying to get everybody on the same page here. Grabs the snap, throws across the middle, the pass falls incomplete. He's looking for Tylen Bryan, I believe, but that pass just didn't have enough on it, and there were some Lorain Titans in the area as well.
Well, that was a fierce hit at the end of that play as well, but you talked about it before the ball was even snapped. I think that shows a lot of development in a quick amount of time by Harris, that he's able to deliver a couple of these calls and whether it's protection or maybe an adjustment with his receivers. I mean, all game we've seen him making pre-snap adjustments, and reacting to what the defense is giving him. So it's definitely a good sign there for the Tigers.
Javon Johnson in the backfield along with Harris. He'll take the snap. Lobs this one deep down the field. Kimball picks it off inside the 10. Spins near side. He's able to take this past the 20. Off to the races down the near sideline. Breaks one tackle. Keeps his feet moving. And then he's dragged down near the 46. And now we have some extracurriculars after the play. There was some jawing going on and some clapping going on the Lorain side of the field. You don't often get the first guy. The second guy oftentimes gets the flag thrown on him, and I don't know who this is going on. But there were two players involved right around the 47 of Warrensville Heights.
Well, despite some of the penalties we've seen tonight, most of them have happened either before the play starts or between the whistles, so we hadn't seen too much of that going on. And hopefully we can avoid any more of that here for the remainder of this fourth quarter. On that one, you can definitely tell Amir Harris going for broke, just seeing what he could do. I mean, he had his mind made up, I think, before the ball even got into his hands on the snap, where he's just going to try to go.
It's unsportsmanlike conduct. And I think they're going to do this against both teams, offsetting penalties. And the result of the play is an interception returned just about 35 yards by Osir Kimball. An impressive day by this Lorain defense. They've just been a turnover machine. Davis still in the game. He'll fire near side left. The pass falls incomplete. Looking for JoJo Gaines.
And throughout the season, he's been their wide receiver 3, if you will, their third option through the air. And hadn't seen him involved much tonight, but he's been very involved as a blocker. So maybe right there just trying to make sure those hands don't go cold on him here for tonight and the rest of the season.
TJ Allen, the tailback. They'll fire left side again. Caught by JoJo Gaines. They dial up his number a second straight time, and he's twisted out of bounds after getting up to about the 42-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down.
And it looked like just, if not the same exact play, it was the same route at least for Gaines. And we finally get to see him a little bit there with the ball in his hands.
Linnell Merritt Jr. was in on the stop, taking him out of bounds. This time they'll give this one to TJ Allen, but he's corralled and dropped. Stopped right at the 42-yard line. He was quickly taken down by Micah Peacock, a freshman.
And we saw him finish off the play. Michael Harris, good job up front by the senior. So we're seeing a mix of a little bit of both, obviously, as we expected. But he blew that play up, forcing an early spin move from Allen, and like you said, went right into the freshman's arms.
J.L. Diaz, the tailback. They'll run out of the Wildcat again. Hyro Williams will send Zion Moore in motion. Williams takes the snap, breaks the tackle. He gets past the 30. He's going to make his way to the end zone for a 7th touchdown on the night. Are you kidding me? This time a 42-yard dash to pay dirt. 7 touchdowns for Hyro Williams. I'd say he's putting on a show tonight, but that would be a mild understatement.
You got that right. I mean, this almost feels unprecedented, especially here on the Lorain County Sports Network. We have not seen any individual player put up a game like this. And once again, we saw it come down to a missed tackle close to the line of scrimmage. I mean, you give him an inch. I mean, he takes those opportunities and runs away with them clearly. And the most surprising part of that, it wasn't his longest rush of the night. I think that might be the most shocking part of that play.
In the meantime, we have an injured Tiger down on the field, back at the 46. Let's take a timeout ourselves as well with inside of 7 minutes to play. 56-12 Lorain on the Lorain County Sports Network. Jacob Rivera's extra point is on the way and good. That makes it 57-12 Lorain. 6:40 to play here in this fourth quarter. And we were just told a few moments ago, Hyro Williams with that 43-yard touchdown rush. She has set a new school record for most touchdowns in a game with number 7. This has been a special evening for that young man. And I mean, anytime he touches the ball, you just kind of hold your breath and you're expecting fireworks here tonight.
Yeah, he's one of those players, you can't take your eye off the field when he has it. As long as that whistle's not blown, it is not over. He's caught me a couple times. I look down to check something. I look off to my right to try to see a reaction or what another part of the offense is doing. You look back and he's already gone. You missed the best part of the run. So, and just imagine being in the shoes of Lorain fans here. You go from John Solomon last season, one of the best running backs the school's seen, especially recently, and then the next year you're treated to basically the same, if not better, more multifaceted. I mean, he's doing it as a receiver, as a runner. It's just, we're witnessing something special.
Rivera's kickoff will go out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. So this Tiger offense will take over at their own 35. 7 touchdowns tonight. Part of a special group of seniors, and they've got lots of good ones at the skill positions this year. And I think it just seems like they've kind of all had their moment in the sun, but certainly none bigger than tonight. 7 touchdowns. Something you and I, we may call games for the next 40 years and never see that again.
No, that's a great point. I mean, that's something I've got to remember and not only archive it in my brain, but also probably come back to this video here on YouTube a few times just to witness it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Man.
Amir Harris will have Braylon Donegan off his right side in the backfield. Harris has shown some flashes here tonight. Pump fake left, fires down the left side, got a man wide open, caught in stride at the 30, to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Second touchdown pass of the night. This one goes to Tylen Bryant. It's a 65-yard touchdown pass from Amir Harris to Tylen Bryant. And that's the second touchdown for this offense tonight.
Well, and throughout the game, we've mainly seen him either at the line of scrimmage or very short route patterns, just very safe throws. And right there, taking the top off the defense, finally cracks a huge play to add to his receiving totals this evening.
The first touchdown pass was of the 45-yard variety to Brian Nichols. And they'll keep the offense on the field here, try and go for 2 with inside of 4.5 minutes to play. 57-18, Lorain with the lead. Amir Harris trying to convert this 2-point conversion. He'll take the snap. It's a double handoff. Johnson looking to pass now as he looks down the field, fires this one left side of the end zone, and the pass is caught for the 2-point conversion to the quarterback, Amir Harris. There was a double handoff. They got the ball into the hands of Javon Johnson, and Johnson looked like he was dead to rights around the 15-yard line and threw that across his body to the left side of the end zone, and Amir Harris catches the 2-point conversion to make it 57-20.
Wow, I mean, switching roles a little bit there, or a lot of it, I should say. And I mean, that's a play that's become, it was pretty popularized near the end of the 2010s decade, and we've seen it here recently in other football games at a couple different levels this year, but this is my first time seeing it live, especially here in the high school setting. And that also shows the type of athlete Amir Harris is, too.
And you know what? Kudos to Coach Green and his staff. In a game like this, you're down by a lot. Plays like that are fun to run, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the ones you draw up in the backyard all the time. And, you know, at this level, you don't draw them up very often because so many things can go wrong.
Yes.
But clearly, they want to give these kids something to hang their hat on here tonight. And that's a tough play to execute, but they were able to execute that for a 2-point conversion there a few moments ago.
Sure, it went according to plan. You know, the coaches at no point got worried when he was running out of real estate across that sideline. But, yeah, just seen the excitement in celebration there from Harris at the end of that play. His teammates crowding him. Certainly something you hang on to.
Tylen Bryant, who caught that 65-yard touchdown pass before the 2-point conversion, will get ready to kick this away. It's an onside kick, and it's recovered right around the 48-yard line of Lorain. Clock will continue to tick here. And while this will end up going down as a lopsided victory for Lorain, you admire the fight from Warrensville Heights. 20 points, nothing to sneeze at. They've turned the ball over a lot here tonight.
And the point you bring up about the scoring, it's now officially the most points they've scored in a game this season after a couple shutouts in recent weeks. So definitely an obvious step in the right direction there on that side of the ball.
And we will finally see a quarterback change. Leonard McCall will take the snap here. And Manny Rosario lines up as the tailback. Rosario is a name we figure we might call a bit on defense here tonight. He's put up some pretty good numbers defensively, and they handed it off to him, but now we've got some whistles. Don't see any laundry on the field. I'm not sure why they blew the whistle.
I did see one of the Titan receivers pulled out of the game, replaced quickly, so may have been something that one of the line judges noticed. Maybe equipment or maybe the same number, I'm not sure.
They'll run the clock again. So again, it is Leonard McCall, the quarterback, Manny Rosario, the tailback. They'll give to Rosario, room to run right side. Gets out in open space, tried to break a tackle just outside the 40-yard line, but he was dragged down outside the numbers at the 36. Still picked up about 16 yards on that scamper, and it's first down Lorain.
And there's so many great skill players that are seniors this year. It's a good time to see who those next up guys are behind them. Obviously, major ones from last season. Cairo Williams, Kimball, they were contributors last year, but obviously the main man of the show was John Salomon, so it was a good opportunity to get them some reps here tonight.
Coach Boyes understanding the situation here. He's not going to ask these guys to do anything but drop back into victory formation. They should only have to do this 2 more times. We don't have visual on the play clock here, but we do know that they'll probably have to take a couple more snaps here. And when you're up 57-20, there's no need to do anything else. We've got a whistle, and we've got a timeout called by Warrensville Heights. With 46 seconds left in this one. Well, not exactly sure why you'd call for a timeout there. Maybe they just want to give their kids a couple of extra plays. You know, when you're talking about a young group, you want them to get experience.
That you do, and perhaps getting maybe filtering in a couple different guys.
Could be. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
There, and you know, obviously, still some discussion going on in that Lorain huddle. There's a lot of these guys just chopping at the bit, trying to be the next Hyro Williams. That's a tall task to stay up to, but they know in moments like this, it's a chance to do that and prepare to do that, I should say.
Tough act to follow. You know, a 7-touchdown night on homecoming. That's the story he'll be telling for years and years and years. And then again, to be fair, we'll be telling that story for years. Like I said, we may never see a 7-touchdown game again. It's a keeper by McCall. McCall takes it across the left edge inside the 35 to the 30. Still on his feet, and he's tackled at the 25-yard line. That's enough to keep the sticks moving, and that should, in all likelihood, bring this one to an end.
The end of that appears they may have thrown in a flag at some point, but it'll be declined. All right.
Well, that should bring this game to an end. I can't imagine why it wouldn't. The clock continues to tick. Lorain's in no hurry to run a play here. They don't have to, and that will bring this game to a close. So 57-20 will be our final count tonight. Lorain goes to 6-1 on the season, and we've got lots to talk about in our post-game show here in just a few moments. It's the I-90 Nissan at Sheffield Village post-game show coming your way in just a few moments. A scoring recap, some final stats, and much, much more coming your way here in just a minute. Again, your final, Lorain 57 and Warrensville Heights 20 on the Lorain County Sports Network. Williams was the hero of the night. 7 touchdowns to set a new school scoring record and a 57-20 win for Lorain on homecoming over Warrensville Heights. Glad to have you with us on the postgame show, brought to you by I-90 Nissan in Sheffield Village, because the deals are so good. Andy Bullbarch, Max Drummond, Edwin Vereen, and Sam Sovacool with you, and we'll break down the numbers here in just a moment, Max, but a 7-touchdown game, a sight to see for sure. And the crazy thing is, in a game where you see a grand total of 77 points, lots and lots of turnovers, there were a ton of highlights in this game, but it's hard to see anything other than a 7-touchdown game, which is what we got from Hyro Williams.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that these fans have literally never seen. I mean, we mentioned school record, and it could be a very long time before they see it again. And I mean, he's the man of the hour, the man of the weekend, however you want to call it. I mean, that he's getting the picture now that you'll see on social media later. I mean, just an incredible performance. I'm almost lost for words at it.
Well, let's take a look at what went down in the second half. I mean, this thing got out of control pretty quickly. In that first half, he was putting on a major display, and in the second half, things didn't get a whole lot better for Warrensville Heights, although they did score 20 points in this game. But in that second half, Johnny Geiger, a guy we can't forget about in this game, he did have a couple of interceptions. He had his second pick of the game to begin the second half in the very first play from scrimmage. What followed was a 36-yard touchdown pass from Chase Davis to Hyro Williams. That made it 50-6. And then Brian Nichols got in on the scoring party again. He caught a 45-yard touchdown pass from Amir Harris for their only score in the opening half, but then he returned a kickoff 89 yards, took it to the house to make it 50-12. And a little bit later on in that second half, Hyro Williams found pay dirt again, this time a 43-yard touchdown rush for his final score of the game. Warrensville Heights would get the final shot in this one, a 65-yard TD pass from Harris to Tyler Bryant, and then they would use a trick play to convert a 2-point conversion, a double reverse pass where the quarterback, Amir Harris, caught the 2-point conversion. So there were some fireworks in this one on both sides, but you certainly can't ignore A, what Hyro Williams did, and B, what this Lorain defense did. They were able to force 7 turnovers in this game. They were just incredible in every phase of the game, Max.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it there in the second half after some of the stats had continued to pile up, and they kept being able to convert on some things and force some mistakes. A lot of their stats, they came close to matching. I mean, Hyro was very close to getting his total amount of touchdowns on the season tonight. He was over halfway there. And then the turnovers, I mean, we knew they were successful at it throughout the season, but to do it so emphatically tonight really kind of blew me away.
We'll have you break down some of the numbers with the stats of the game brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA, but let's take a quick look at our drive of the game. Strangely enough, there aren't many candidates because almost every single score in this game was of 25 yards or more. The drive of the game would have to take us all the way back to that first quarter. Here's a shocker. That drive ended in a Hyro Williams touchdown. This one a 5-yard touchdown rush. It was a drive that didn't last very long. It was only 5 plays, but they went 65 yards down the field. You may sit there and look at that and think, wow, that's your drive of the game? Well, there were so many big plays in this game, there weren't many very long drives. Drive of the game is brought to you by Valley Chevrolet. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet in Wellington. Max, let's take a look at those stats.
Yeah, and we'll start with the obvious candidate here, Williams, who had 18 touches, 364 total yards. That's 20 yards of play for you, for the mathematicians out there, and the 7 touchdowns. Then looking at the guy who threw him a couple of those, quarterback Chase Davis, 13 of 17, 281, and 2 touchdowns through the air. And one of the other guys to get a touchdown tonight, Osir Kimball, who came on a 59-yard touchdown catch and run, and he added 62 yards on the ground as well. And for Warrensville Heights, they spread out their scoring a little bit there, especially getting, like you talked about, the special teams one. But Amir Harris, I think there's a bright future there. He put a lot of good things out there. Finished 12 of 23, 185. He had 2 touchdowns, obviously caught the 2-point conversion. A few turnovers I know he'd like to work on and overcome those here as the season moves along. But it's a solid night, I think, for him, especially going against a defense of that caliber. His top receiver, after his big touchdown catch, after a lot of short ones to open the game, came by way of Bryant there, Tylen Bryant. He had 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. So a pretty noteworthy receiving night on his end as well.
So many candidates when it comes to the big play of the game. That's brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lorain County. Be a big, get a big. That's Big Brothers Big Sisters of Lorain County. Why not just go back to what started this whole thing? A 56-yard touchdown pass from Chase Davis to Hyro Williams. That was just a sign of things to come. Hyro Williams had a 57-yard touchdown rush. He had a 23-yarder. He had a 5-yard touchdown rush. Later on in the game, he would catch another one from 36 yards out, and his final one was a 43-yard touchdown rush. So very, very big plays all across the board, but the tone was set with that 56-yard pitch and catch from Davis to Williams at the beginning of this one. The Ernie's Auto Body collision of the game. Top Auto Body Shop in Avon is Ernie's Auto Body Shop. Bird Gaines had a couple of really big hits in this game. He also kind of helped to set the tone defensively, so Bird Gaines gets credit for Ernie's Auto Body collision of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a guy, 64 tackles on the season, so he's definitely no stranger to hits like that.
That's going to wrap things up for us here at George Daniel Field in Lorain. Your final score again, Titans 57, Warrensville Heights 20. And this was a contest we figured coming in. It might be a little bit one-sided, but credit Warrensville Heights. They battled in this one, fell behind, and look, they never gave up in this game. We said it before, that's a direct reflection of their head coach, Bronson Green. They've got some really good young players on this team, and they could certainly be a force in years to come.
That's right, and they give us some things to get excited about there in the second half, and moving forward for the rest of their schedule. I think they certainly have a couple chances here to continue to improve. And it's, leads to an exciting conclusion for the Lake Erie League for Lorain, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, look, you got 3 more weeks to clean up a couple of things, but this is a pretty tough performance to top with that 7-touchdown performance by Hyro Williams. But offensively, it seemed like for the most part they were hitting on all cylinders. With the win, Lorain goes to 6-1 on the season. Warrensville Heights still searching for that first win. Don't forget, next week, the Four Horsemen will be over in Vermilion as the Sailors welcome in Huron for an SBC contest, 6:30 pregame. 7 o'clock, we'll get that baby kicked off, and that is a game that could have major SBC and playoff implications. We look forward to bringing that one to you from Vermilion next week. Any final thoughts from you, Max, before we sign off?
Well, it was a pleasure to see history take place in front of us, and it's an even bigger pleasure. We still have plenty of high school football to go here in the regular season.
Yeah, no question about that. A lot of football left to be played, 3 weeks to be exact, and that playoff picture should start to take more shape next week. Want to remind all of you to tune in to WOBL and WDLW for the remainder of the I-90 Nissan and Sheffield Village post-game show. Dave Grenczynski, Paul Williams, and Maria Janasco will have the final scores. They'll talk to some of the game-winning players and coaches from tonight's action as well. Might have to see if they can work in a Q&A session with Hyra Williams. I think he's probably earned that tonight with 7 trips to pay dirt in this one. But stay tuned because that trio will give you all of the scores and the information that you need to wrap up another week of high school football here in Lorain County. Where are you at tomorrow for the LC8?
We're going to go down to LaGrange, be a Keystone for the regular season finale before playoffs get going there at the junior LC8 level.
3 o'clock tomorrow, right?
Yep, that's right.
Check it out right here on the Lorain County Sports Network. Plenty of people to thank before we sign off in this one. First and foremost, a big thanks to all of you for tuning in to tonight's contest. We certainly hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Our thanks to Brian Corey and company, the entire athletic department, for their help and hospitality here at George Daniel Field in Lorain, for hosting us throughout the night. And an outstanding job done, as always, by the horsemen up here. Max Drummond providing the colorful analysis. Edwin Vereen, the captain of the ship, our director for tonight. And Sam Sovacol working the camera this evening. One final time, your final score, Lorain 57, Warrensville Heights 20. For Sam, Edwin, and Max, this is Andy Bolbarch saying thanks again for tuning in to the Lorain County Sports Network. We'll catch you all again from Vermilion next Friday.